back open. So we have that. So with that being said, guys, okay, great. My people are back already. So, Storm, what we there was another gentleman that was
Yeah,
jumping in.
someone
That was
else wanted to say something.
yeah.
Me. Speaking about Obama, Storms made great points, but yet and still, you have to understand that Obama went through having other color presidents for 40 some elections. And for somebody to persevere through all of that and finally come in and make, which wasn't technically the first black president, but we'll just use it for the sake of the discussion, the first
Ah,
black president. And so he persevered, and not only did he win two elections, they were back to back. Trump did great. He
yeah,
won,
yeah.
and I think he should have won back to back as well. But yet and still, because he had a predecessor, somebody that came right from Obama's administration to run, they stole an election after Hillary should have won the other one as well. But yet and still, Trump has done a
Who
great
now?
job, and I think
Wait,
Trump.
back up, Shemaine. You're saying that
Well, no, I didn't
Hillary
let you back.
Clinton got the
Let me back.
election
No, I'm
stolen
not
from
done
Trump?
talking. You just mute your mic for 1 second. So what I'm saying is this: Obama came in and he done a hell of a job being the first quote unquote black president, and our president was black at that time, not including Bill Clinton, but an actual Jew or black man. But yet and still, Trump came in. And let's speak about Trump now. I'm done with Obama, but Trump is doing a wonderful job. Something that I saw today, he has on a color change hat. Now it's black and white. I don't know if they're waving a white flag or throwing their hoodies or what. Either way it goes, it stated that he's the 45th through the 47th. He's looking to get an extra term. So I don't know what's going on here. All I know is they both has done a wonderful job. He and Obama, not including Let's Go Brandon. But he's out of here. So I'm not going to say F-47, but yet and still, let's go.
So I just want to clear up something.
Yeah,
Did you say
okay.
that Hillary Clinton got the election stolen from her because of Trump in
No,
2016?
I don't want to say that she had the election stolen, but she won the popular vote and he won the electoral vote. You can word that yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so Trump shouldn't have won, in your
No, no,
opinion.
those words didn't come out of my mouth. What I said was Hillary won the popular votes. You saw that, and Trump won the electoral votes.
Right. How are presidents elected again? By the popular
Way
vote or the electoral?
the way Obama won back to back.
Okay, so legally, how are presidents elected? The popular vote or the electoral college?
The way Obama won back to back.
You're not answering my question, Shemaine.
I
It's a
did.
simple
He won
answer.
it legally. So we were talking about Obama and
I'm
Trump.
not
No
talking
one else.
about Obama. I'm talking
Well,
about
the
what you said.
conversation was Obama and Trump. No one else.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
no, that,
You're
that
missing
really
my
wasn't the
point here. I'm
conversation.
trying to get a point of clarification. You think that the election was stolen from Hillary
No,
Clinton
no, no. You're
because
saying
she
that.
won
I
the
never
elect
said that, so
because she
don't
won the
put words in
popular
my
vote?
mouth. All I was speaking about was Trump and Obama. Nothing in between.
You said Hillary Clinton, dude.
I said Hillary Clinton won the popular votes and Trump won the electoral votes.
And then
Everything
you
else
also
is
said
legal.
something about having the election stolen in
No,
2016.
no, no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
trying
no,
to
no. That's
clarify if
in
you
your
said it or
mind.
not.
You have to change your, and I hate to say these words, but this is Cindy, most hateful word, your mindset. That's your mindset. I never said someone stole an election.
Okay.
I said Obama won fair and square. Trump has won as well.
Okay. All right, guys. Look. A win is a win, whether it's back to back or I think being able to lose and come back and win again is a bit more impressive. Okay. Most people do win back to back. One other president won, lost, and won again. So but that's not important here. What I want to do, I do want to address something you said, Charmaine, because you kept addressing President Obama, and you said that he did a great job as the first black president. Okay, I think a lot of people need to change the way they think. Obama didn't do a great job as the first black president. Okay, let's start there. He did a great
Can I
job
say
as a
this, Jonathan, before you can say that? He did a
uh,
great job as becoming the quote unquote first black president. That's all
okay.
I'm saying. His
Okay, no,
administration
no,
was
no, no,
part of
no, no, no. Let me just say something, and I'm glad you clarified it. Thank you for double down. Okay, he didn't do a great job as becoming first black. He did a great job being president. Period. Okay, there doesn't have to be a carve out for him. Okay, there's no carve out required for him. He did a great job as a president. Okay, no scandals, no indictments. None of that stuff like that has become tradition.
Understood. He was a perfect
Okay,
guy. You're absolutely right.
no, I'm not. I didn't call him perfect. Okay, but what I'm saying is, you gotta stop saying that he did a great job because guess what? He did a great job as a president. Period. And so I don't know why you have to do a carve out, a special section for him as a black president. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, he was a
So
great
I'm going
president.
to carve it out for him,
Hopefully,
Jonathan, because you have to understand where we were as a country at that time. We have never had, before John Henson, the first actual black president, we're not going to speak about him,
yeah,
but the
yeah, I get
first
that. I get that.
president. And he was a great
Look,
guy. But he didn't do shit either. I'm not going to talk bad about him, but I'm going to say it.
okay, he did a great job as president. I won't leave it there. Anyone else wants to jump in here, guys? Anyone?
Yeah, Jonathan, I think that, when we're looking at the way that this thing went down from 2016 to 2020, a 4 year gap, and there was so much against Trump. If you really, I'm not trying to compare a goat and a goat, or I'm not trying to pick, this is an apples to apples comparison. Nobody in my recent memory has ever gone through the task that Trump had to overcome on his reelection campaign, not only on the legal end, but also on the attempted assassination end, and going through all kinds of just a bunch of disparity. So Obama got two consecutive terms. We get it. Bush, two consecutive terms. That's understandable. This is something that we haven't seen because we've had unprecedented events around the world. We've had a pandemic that shut everything down. We've had record immigration. We've had record stocks as far as the Dow. There's a lot of different things that we're playing into comparison here. And then on top of that, we've had conflicts. And we're talking about wars that have gone on overseas that everybody thinks the world is coming to an end, and you have to contend with social media. You've got to contend with the media mainstream, and then you got to contend with Fox News. There's so much, and people are so riled up right now that it's really tough to win in an election and in an environment where you think everybody's against you. Yet when the country shows up, you still win the popular and the electoral. So I think what we witnessed in the 2024 election, there's no other way to compare it. So I don't really know where Obama came in, but I would just say that I'm curious to see what's going to happen in 2028.
I mean, maybe it's because all of the ones you mentioned, aside Trump, didn't do the stuff that Donald Trump has done. They don't have any criminal charges. And again, 1/3 of the country didn't vote at all. So the country didn't show up. They actually did not show up for that process. I mean, you guys are apologists and you try and make all these statements for Donald Trump with everything that he's done. I mean, just sheer apologists. Look at what he had to go through. He caused all the things he had to go through. He literally was the one that caused all of these things. And the other ones didn't do any of that. So maybe that's why that's a difference.
If he's such a bad president, Rochelle, why did he get reelected?
Why did he get reelected, Storm?
Why did a convicted felon get reelected?
Because people that are as unscrupulous as he is voted for him, as well as the men who are misogynists. Because once again, he didn't beat Hillary. No, he beat Hillary and he beat Kamala Harris, two women. He can't beat a man.
Well, you can't win an election without a minority vote, without
He
women's
cannot
support. How
beat
did he get all that support,
white
Rochelle, if
women.
he's such a
White
bad
women.
guy?
White women. You want white women and in the minority men and the white men who basically are misogynists
Good. So how did he get the
who
black vote?
voted
How did he get
against
the
the female.
Latino vote?
He didn't get the black vote.
Really?
80% of black men voted for Kamala. 92% of black women voted for Kamala. How did he get the black vote?
He got the black vote. He got
How
the
did he get
Latino vote. He
how did
got the
he
white
get
woman vote. He got
how
the
did he
white
get the
man
black
vote.
well, we know that all of those men they're all misogynists, right?
Ah, got it. Okay,
Yeah,
so we're all
exactly.
misogynist now.
Go
Cool.
and look at the
I want to
numbers.
say one
Go and look
thing
at
again.
how it's played out, and then you can actually see the data. The data
Yeah,
doesn't
and
lie.
here's the data,
The data does
Rochelle.
not lie. The data
He won
shows
the
that
popular and
men
electoral
that
college.
so okay by 1.1 was it 1.4%?
Doesn't
with
matter.
with 34% of the country that stayed home, 1/3 of the country.
So
Yeah,
why did
that
one
was
third of the
not the
country stay home during the
landslide that you
election then?
guys say it was. It was not a landslide. You literally had
First of all, the whole
2%
country
of the
doesn't.
Muslim community
Okay,
that voted against
okay.
their own interests
But
because they were
Rochelle,
angry and mad and stuff. Who's talking, Jonathan?
Cindy.
No.
What you
You
want,
know,
Cindy?
but you know that the whole country does never comes out to vote.
Thank you, Sandy. That's
Cindy,
exactly what I was gonna say.
how
One third of
much?
the
Okay.
country.
Well, they
I was
just
gonna say
How?
that
don't,
same
honey. They
thing.
just
Okay,
don't.
so how many
Not
people came out
everybody
to?
votes.
How many people came out to vote in the prior elections compared to this
I
one?
guess I'd have to go back and Google
Yeah.
that
Okay.
too.
So yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So you give
Well,
me the numbers since you know them and I don't.
well, hang on. If you look at it, Cindy, Harris didn't outperform Biden in really any county across the country. So how do you explain how she just got such a poor turnout when Biden got 82 million votes and Harris didn't even come close? How did
And
she actually
how
outperform Biden?
how
I'll
much of the
discuss this
country
with your
turned
boy
out?
Scott because y'all say the 2020 numbers are false because the election was stolen.
Well,
So
no,
just
of
like I
course it
asked
was
Scott,
completely true, Carlos.
are you now giving legitimacy to those 82 million
I mean,
votes?
it's a legitimate election, right? He won fair and square.
Okay, then. So now you're saying the 82 million are accurate.
It must be right because they counted all of them. So where do you tell me, Carlos, if you had this with Scott, why did not Democratic supporters show up for Kamala Harris the way they did for Biden?
Oh, I
You
don't know. You
can't
have to
answer
ask the
that.
Democrats. No, you
Oh
have to
well,
ask the
what
Democrats.
about the Republican voters that voted against Trump? What about that?
It doesn't
Like
matter who
so
showed up
so
for or
so
against
you're
Trump. He
not going to
won
factor
both the
in the two
popular vote and
percent.
the
You're
electoral
not going to
college.
factor
And if he
in
would
the
have
two
won, he would have
One
percent.
got
mic. Hold on.
guns,
One
then
second.
great.
So
One
so
second,
you're
guys.
not.
One second, guys. We haven't been speaking over each other all night. We can't do that. We can't do that. Not going to do that. That's not the vibe. That's not the vibe. So go ahead, Rochelle. And when Storm speaks, like I said, we're not gonna be doing that. That hasn't been the vibe tonight. So go ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rochelle. You
so you're
and
not
then
factoring in the 2% of the Muslim population that voted for anybody besides Trump or Harris. That percentile that would normally have voted democratically, but they were protest voting. So that's 2%. If they had voted correctly, then she would have likely won. But let's look at the 34% that stayed home, but also look at the numbers that turned out. Overwhelmingly, the male support went towards Donald Trump. So you're not even going to factor in the misogyny part of this. You're not going to look at the overlaying of the 2016 map when he ran against Hillary Clinton versus the overlaid map of when he ran against Harris and how it's damn near identical except for the extra states that he won. So misogyny has nothing to do with it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, you lost me at Muslims here. You're saying if 2% of the Muslim community showed up
I
and
didn't
voted
lose
for
you.
Harris, she would
I
have
didn't
won?
lose you.
You lost everyone that Muslims.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know,
You lost me at voted correctly.
Yeah, you lost me at misogyny, calling us all men, white men misogynists. That's
No,
fine. But I
no,
just want
no.
to
I
ask
looked
you
at
this
the
question,
data.
Rochelle,
You
just
look
to
at the data. I'm
clarify.
talking about the data.
Hang on, I want to ask you this question. You're saying if the 2% Muslim community showed up and voted against or voted for Harris and against Trump, that Harris wins?
I said that she could have likely won. You left that part out. You
Got it.
heard
Well, how,
likely.
how does the
You
2%
you heard
Muslim makeup?
what did Trump win by?
How do that? How does the
What
Muslim
percentage did
community
Trump
carry the
win
swing
by?
states? I'm just trying to ask you this question. How does the Muslim community, that 2%, carry all the swing states that she lost?
Again, like I said, what percentage did Trump win by?
You can't answer my question?
Oh, I answered your question. You just don't want
No,
to accept it because you're an apologist for Trump and you don't want to even acknowledge the
Rochelle, I'm
misogyny.
asking you a serious
You don't,
question.
and I'm giving you an answer. How about that?
Kamala
Okay,
and
Let's
Hillary votes should
so
have been
no, we're trying to follow the conversation.
in
Please
the
go.
Yeah,
swing
yeah, we are.
states, you're
Okay.
saying that the Muslim community lost the election for Harris in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in Arizona, in all of these different swing states that Trump all won. And you're saying the Muslim community, if they would have shown up, Harris would have likely won in the states where the Muslim community is not even really a blip on the radar.
So the Muslim, what do you mean they're not a blip on the radar?
They're not going to make up
they
the
they they
percentage of the electoral college in
they
the
live
swing states that's going to put them over the top.
they live in more than one state. Let's start with that. If it was not for them for just anybody besides the two candidates that was actually on the ballot, and then I factor in the misogyny. We didn't talk about the male vote and stuff, and that's why she lost because
So
men didn't want a woman to be the president, and
got
they
they
it.
voted
say she's
for
too
Hillary.
emotional. Yet Trump was all emotional in the White House all the time.
Got it. So you're saying that basically all of Trump's supporters are misogynists. That's why he won the election?
I say you look at the data and you look at the data, that's what the data says. Exactly. Overlay the maps when he ran against the two women that he beat. And that's what the data says.
If
Absolutely.
Hillary
Okay, yeah.
popular
So
vote,
American men are
Kamala
misogynists. That's
should have.
all I needed to hear. Thank you.
Well, if you don't think
Rochelle,
that they are, then you have a problem.
Rochelle definitely has a
I'd like
common thing, much like Christmas has a common theme. Who is that chiming in?
That was Shemaine. I was stating that if Hillary won the popular votes based on Democrats and Republican, Kamala or whatever her name is, she should have won the popular vote as well, and it should have went to the electoral college to deem the president.
That's it. I'm deleting the app tonight. What did he just say?
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know how to
know.
respond.
I
I
stated
was
if
so
Hillary won the popular
uncomfortable.
vote,
It's sort of like in
how
those
couldn't
cartoons where
Kamala win?
I wasn't even sure what he said.
like shit
I'm
running around in your
I
sorry.
just
head.
repeated it. Do I need to repeat it again? If Hillary won the
Maybe
popular
slower.
votes,
Let's try it one more time.
okay, one more time. Here it
Okay,
is.
slower.
Hillary won the popular votes. Everyone
Hey,
knows that,
hold
right?
on. Hill.
Okay, she's a Democrat.
Okay.
Hillary won the popular votes.
Yes, sir.
Let's exclude whatever president was next. If another lady came in, electoral election later, and ran, Kamala should have won the popular votes as well. But she lost by a landslide. That
She
shows
lost by a
racism.
landslide.
That shows racism
So
within the
what was the percentage difference between her and Trump?
a landslide.
Yeah, in your head, but go off.
But he said something about the electoral college. What was he saying about that?
The
Carlos, leave
only
people
reason
alone.
Hillary lost the election is because of the electoral college. She won the popular vote. All I'm stating is that if Hillary, as a Democrat lady, won the popular votes, the people's votes, Kamala should have won the people votes as well. Unless we want to just throw this in here, let's go, Brandon, jacked it up.
so Hillary Clinton got 65 million votes. Kamala Harris got 75 million votes. What does that do to your theory? I'm not even sure because I don't understand it. But
Well,
that
well,
make a
that may,
difference?
that may show this, and I'm glad you said that. That may show this. The people that could vote voted. Maybe there was a lot of mass incarceration that took a lot of people out that couldn't vote within that time frame. And let's be honest about it, a lot of quote unquote black people, mostly males, couldn't have voted. Although she did receive, according to Jonathan them, a lot
What?
of black male votes.
So it's because of
What?
mass incarceration that Kamala Harris lost. Yeah, are you
No,
following
I'm
this,
not.
Rochelle?
I'm
I'm
not
totally
saying
lost.
that.
Hey,
No,
Just
Carlos,
no,
that
not to
Storm.
leave
For
according
the
to
app.
once,
Let's
them
get
now.
right
once
on
we
this.
agree, Storm. We agree for
Oh
once.
my
Yeah,
Go
God,
all
now.
please
three
don't
of
do
us
that.
agree. I don't get it either. Okay.
So
See,
lost
it's
on
not
this.
for
Help
you to
us.
get. It was for Trump to win. That's all that matters.
Trump won, so we're debating hypotheticals at
I
this
am
point.
Trump
laughing my
won. That's
ass
all that
off.
matters.
He's probably going to win in 2028 too when he runs for a third term.
That's right.
Well, I mean, Storm and I are voting.
He runs
But
against a
Daphne, you're a
man.
white woman. I'm a white man. I'm misogynist, and you're just I don't know what a white woman is
Well,
in this
I'm white
mega world.
privileged. I'm definitely white privileged.
Okay, there we go. White
I
privilege, I
mean,
Well,
guess. Yeah.
definitely voted against your interests.
no, you're both just violating the Constitution if you vote for
Yeah,
someone
Oh
who's
yeah,
not
yeah.
God.
who's not
That
entitled
shit right there.
to be
That's
running.
that's
But
that's
other than
not that's
that,
not
like I said last
that's
night,
not what I
MAGA
want a
doesn't
co-host to be
care.
saying.
They don't care
Definitely.
about the Constitution. That's hey, who cares?
Uh,
So I have
So
a
is
question.
Shemaine?
Did,
So
did
Shemaine, is
Hillary
your
win the
summation?
popular votes or not? Just answer that
Yeah,
question.
she
Did she
won a
win the
popular
popular
votes. Are
vote?
you saying that she won a popular vote, so the people like Hillary, but the electoral college didn't? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's how Trump won by the electoral votes, and that's how most presidents could win by the electoral votes.
He also won by the popular vote too. He hit it both ways.
Okay.
Look,
I
guys,
know he did this time for sure.
you can keep just trashing and trashing and trashing. But look, we'll just wait for the midterms, and the midterms will tell you exactly the direction we're going in.
I
And by the way,
recall when Hillary went.
there were weeks here that you're all like, "Oh my God, he's Putin's boy. He's Putin's boy." Have you been watching what he's been doing to Putin? Doesn't seem to be such a good friendship right there, right
He
now.
hasn't done
He hasn't done anything to
anything to
Putin.
Putin.
He hasn't done
That
anything to
just
Putin.
because he
No,
changed.
actually,
He
He hasn't
said
done
that
actually,
anything to Putin.
he's
Tara,
shocked and disturbed, but he
I'm
hasn't done
watching it right
anything.
now on Fox. Okay, as
No
we're talking,
sanctions, no nothing. There's nothing.
doesn't seem like
He
he doesn't seem
posted he
like
was He
Doesn't seem
posted he
like
was
he's
surprised.
doesn't seem like he's Putin's little bitch boy. Sorry, hate to
He
tell
hasn't
you.
done anything,
He
Cindy.
hasn't done anything, Cindy.
He
That's the
he
whole
he
point.
said some
He
words.
said, I can't believe that he's doing this stuff. Why not? Everybody else knew that Putin was. He's the
Okay.
only
Yeah.
dupe here who didn't believe
Well,
that Putin would do
firing
these things.
shots right now. Firing shots at Putin.
He's
Trump is
not firing
firing
shots, Cindy.
shots
He's
at
saying
Putin.
words, Cindy. He's saying words,
Hey,
and
everything starts with words,
so,
doesn't it?
Cindy, no, Cindy. Here's the thing,
Oh,
Cindy.
okay.
Cindy, what we did is, if we in our group text, we actually put that this was happening this way days ago, and we could pull it up, and nothing has taken place. Like when someone
Let's see
posted
what
what he said,
happens again.
but it's just
Everything
words.
starts with a conversation, and a conversation either works out or it turns into a fight. Either or. Look at this room.
Let me ask you, when was the last time? Let me ask you this, Cindy. Matter of fact, has the
You can
Kremlin?
ask me anything you want. I
Okay,
love you.
okay,
Ask me anything you want.
that's what I say. So anyway, when was the last
You know
time
I'm busting your balls right now,
Yeah,
right?
I know you are.
Okay.
So, because I know I said ask. I know I said ask. I know I said. But
Say
anyway,
it again.
ask.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I said. I know. I've been saying it. You could
Okay.
check
Listen,
my recordings.
I
But
don't
anyway,
pronounce my R's, but go ahead.
okay. So anyway,
Well, I do in
what
the
I'm
wrong
saying to you,
places.
what I'm saying to you, Cindy, is this right here. He he threw me off. Well, anyway, the point that
That's
I was
called
making
a
is we
testosterone moment. Go
no,
take some
no.
testosterone. Go ahead.
The reason that we knew that Putin. First of all, Putin was the last. Here it is. When was the last time the Kremlin ever called the United States emotional? They never ever done that before. They never referred to us as being emotional.
Okay. And again, the stock market and the bond market shows all this uncertainty. And I got to be honest, I don't like this, right? I don't like this at all. Like the bond market's going this way, it's going that way. It's driving me cuckoo crazy this morning. But again, look at your stock market. How do we explain that? Economy, I think, is going in a shithole, and the stock market's flying up again. Like I don't get this. I seriously said to Ray, I am completely lost. I've never been lost in things before like this. I am completely lost. Interest rates dropped today. Did you see that? The 30 year?
I think that's fine for the interest rates to drop because guess what? Trump is making America great again. So yeah,
But
they're going to be
listen,
temporary
I
issues.
don't like, I don't like, and a lot of people don't like so much uncertainty. Okay? Like it's just fucking crazy, guys.
Well, Cindy, you
Bond
got to remember
market,
when
the
he
bond
was
market was heading to
about it,
five
it's going to be
percent. Now it
rough.
pulled back today. Again, it's just, it's. I will say this. What I know is I don't know anymore. This is just getting a little crazy. Sorry, but it is.
There's a lot of uncertainty for sure, Cindy.
A lot of uncertainty. People don't like it.
You
We
know, but
have to
it,
level. We have to level this plane up a bit here. Okay. Can't keep going up in the air and come down nose and back up and then the nose. I really don't want my economy like an EKG machine. Okay. That's what we look like right now.
I admire your honesty. I do admire that honesty.
Yeah, Carlos, I got a problem with it. Like 1 minute we're going to five, and then we're pulling back to four. It's just crazy. I'm not going to follow this right now because it's making me. I literally said to Ray, I don't like this. He starts to laugh. He goes, "We don't like this either, Cindy. I don't like this either, truthfully."
I
But
guarantee you, Ray's standing his ground.
well,
he
you
is
know who
standing.
else
He,
is
but
standing their
again,
ground?
he is.
If I
He
may,
is
if I
because
may, Cindy, like
because
you're standing your ground as well, right? Like I don't think a lot of people know. I don't normally bring this up, but you put it publicly out there. I think I saw it on your Instagram today. You have a huge development in the works, and in this economy, I think all of us
huge,
are like
huge,
huge. That's what I'm saying,
huge.
huge. So Cindy, it's not Ray. I mean, I don't mean not to take away from Ray; he's phenomenal. But Cindy, come on, this woman is 10 toes down in this market, and like that's something to talk about. Like
Right. So
you're,
I have to worry about that. Ray's watching the market. His clients are doing phenomenal, right? But I got to look into the future. I'm speculation. I it's speculation, man. I
mm-hmm.
run my business off pure speculation.
You guys know what that means? That means she does it before she has a buyer, before she has an end person that
Correct.
says, "Hey, I'm going to get it."
Correct.
She's like, "I'm just going to make it and hope to God someone buys it in this fucking economy." Sorry. I want to put
Correct.
in perspective.
Those are a lot of units. Ground up, not an already built. This is ground up. So yeah, I have to like.
How many
I've got to
units?
follow this market.
And she doesn't
Uh,
even know what the hell she's
I'll end.
doing.
I'll
Yeah.
end up with 70. We're going to ask for 95, and then they're going to bargain us down to probably 70, maybe 75. But the average square footage of each townhouse runs between 2,800 and 4,000 square feet. So let's take an average of 3,200 square feet, times that by 75 units. How much square feet am I building out? That's what you have to look at. That's what you have to look at. So if you take 75, divide that by 3,200 is what? We got a mathematician here? What do I have to go do for you?
I'll do it. What do you want me to do?
75 times 3,200.
240,000.
That's what's going to get built. 240,000 square feet. You think I don't, you think I'm liking this bond market right now? No, I'm not. So again, the bond market is what, Jonathan? It controls what, Jonathan?
Interest rate, absolutely.
No, no, mortgage rates, not interest
Mortgage rates,
rates.
more. That's what I'm talking mortgage
Thank
interest
you.
rates. I'm talking about
Thank
mortgage
you.
interest rates. That's why
Thank
I'm
you.
in the business. I'm going to say interest rates. I'm not going to say mortgage rates. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
interest rates
Yeah,
is
I know,
controlled by the Fed.
I know. But I'm speaking about mortgage rates. You know that. So being in the business, that's what I'm referencing.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so if
So
you were sitting in my shoes, you wouldn't like to be building out that much square footage, right? With this much uncertainty,
not at
right?
all.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like economists, and I've actually heard people in this room disregard economists because, as they say, they if they knew what they were talking about, they would be billionaires.
Which is true.
Well,
Which is true.
but economists also knew that every single thing that Donald Trump has done since the day he's gotten in
Yeah,
office
Mackie, I
was
got to respectfully,
bring
and I'm not
about.
going to
May
argue with
may
you.
I finish speaking? I
Yeah,
wasn't
you can,
necessarily
but again,
responding to
I've been in
you.
business for 37 years. They've
Okay, but
never
I
been
what? Oh,
correct.
okay, okay.
I'm sorry, they've
Okay,
never been correct.
okay. So they actually have been correct because even Jerome Powell, who's the Fed chair, literally said that
He's not an
tariffs.
economist. He's not an
Um,
economist. Look,
Jerome Powell is. May I finish speaking? I'll wait until you're
go
done.
right ahead. I'll listen.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just making general commentary. So, Jerome Powell is the chairman of the Fed. I would definitely consider him an economist, but
That
um,
wasn't nice.
that I would consider him an I'll just go back on mute. So.
No, you
No,
can
No,
Mickey.
finish.
Mickey,
please
finish
go
Okay,
talking,
ahead.
Mickey.
I would just like to speak uninterrupted because it's late
Yeah.
and my thoughts get
Sometimes you
scattered.
may get interrupted.
So
Just keep going.
it's
Well,
fine.
Anybody else can
one mic,
speak without
one
interrupting.
mic, one mic. Okay. Yeah, all you guys right now, the peanut gallery, and all this other bullshit. I want Mickey to go ahead and finish her comment, and we're gonna get back to our discussion. All right, because this is getting off the rails right now.
But Jonathan,
Go-
is it really? Is it
What do you mean? Is
the
it
one
Cindy?
thing that we're all worried about is the economy?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Correct?
yeah, Cindy. We're definitely worried about the economy, but we
That should be the first and most important.
yeah, Cindy, you're absolutely right. But there's Cindy. The difference here is and I agree with you 100%. I could talk this all night long, but there's some people in here that's not equipped to talk about the economy. They
Then they
want to
can
talk.
learn.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what your room's about, right?
yeah,
Debating the news and learning.
yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, 100%. I get that. But I want to hear, Mickey. Let's go ahead. We'll hear what you have to say, and then we're gonna jump in and we're
Yeah,
gonna
no, that's fine. The
have
only
this
point that I was
discussion.
going to make, Jonathan, is that economists, this is textbook economy 101, what's actually happening right now. So someone said earlier that a lot of people probably regret their Trump vote. I mean, economists could have foretold what would happen when Trump initiates a trade war or a tariff war, right? That's also going to impact the economy short term and long term. We also could have told you what
Mm.
happens when there is a lot of volatility and uncertainty in the market. The Moody's, which I think you guys addressed in this room, Jonathan, when Moody's downgraded U.S. debt because of everything that's going on. Which, by the way, China posted actually a 3% increase in industrial trade
We've been
despite
down
these
for a long
tariffs.
time, but go ahead.
Well, we can talk about Q1, Q2, Q3, 2024, 2025. It just depends, right? Which is why data is so important because it's explicit and specific, just like numbers. 2 plus 2 equals 4, 2 minus 2 equals 0, right? You can't argue with the data. But so I would actually say that when Trump ran, what he actually ran on, people kind of started talking about this. A lot of economists were concerned and kind of did the warning now that, hey, FY, yoo-hoo, this is what is going to happen if Donald Trump does A, B, C, and D, which is literally what he ran on. So I'm kind of confused as to why anyone who voted for Donald Trump is kind of having a problem right now because this is what you voted for. So congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Mickey, I listen, with all due respect, it's he ran on, he's doing everything he ran on. That is correct. But when you just said short term and long term, it doesn't work, I have to disagree with you. Short term, it's painful. Long term, educated people get what he's trying to do long term. Highly educated people actually do get where he's going long term, but does he have the time to do it? And that's the $1 million question. Okay, so I think a
Well,
lot
Cindy,
of
with
us do understand, but right now, he only has 4 years, right? So, and midterms come around real fast within 2 years, and it could crack him, or maybe it won't. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I will also say that most economists do not know what they're talking about. They do not. And I have respect for one, and Jonathan knows that. One. But again, Jamie Dimon also does what's good for Jamie Dimon too. So there's a gray area there. But no, yeah, if economists were so wonderful, yeah, they would be billionaires and not 1 hour. So I'll go back to what you said because the truth is, they're not always right. Actually, most of the time, they're not right. And in this, what we're seeing right now, I'm sorry, we've never seen this. We have never seen this. So to say that we've seen this before, 101, that is not true either.
well, I said it's
Unless you're 30
economics.
years older than me and have seen, life longer than me, I don't think so. I only can give you what I've seen life to this point, and I've never seen this before.
Right. No, you've never seen it before, but the country has, which is why it's important to look at historical data, Cindy, right?
Yeah, but
Um,
everybody, and I will
yeah,
agree
so
with
it
you.
did happen before with
History
the
does, I'm the first to say history does
uh-huh.
repeat
Well,
itself.
it is repeating itself, which is why the
Okay.
economists knew what would happen. And by the way, Jamie Dimon, who you mentioned, he actually is a billionaire. So if that is your
Jamie's
metric,
not, no, okay, oh, then let
Jamie
me stop you.
Dimon,
He's not a billionaire from being an economist, Mickey.
but
Stop. That's
he's
not why he's a billionaire.
he's the but you referenced his name, so
Because
I'm
I,
telling you that he is a billionaire though.
that's not why he's a billionaire, though. You know that, and I
Uh,
know that.
well, he speaks on the okay. I thought you referenced him because he also
I
speaks on the
referenced him
economy.
because I have respect for him. But if you heard what I said, he's not an economist. Let's get that straight, okay? But also, he does what's good for his banking business, okay? So let's just call that, he's fair mongled in the past, and he's done very well for
Right.
his
This
people,
is actually
okay?
you just
But
made an
he's not a
okay.
billionaire because he's a straight out economist.
What is an
Right.
economist? What do you think an economist's
Well, no, here,
credentials
may I
are?
just make a
I
quick
just,
comment before we
sure.
pivot?
I
This
just,
is
Not Jamie
absolute
Dimon.
yeah, this is absolutely the reason why we don't listen to CEOs and business owners and executives who are billionaires because as Cindy perfectly said, they are going to tell you what is good for their bottom line and not of the United States, its constituents, its citizens, and the country and the overall general economic health, which is why we prefer to listen to people like economists who do not have a dollar in the game. They are purely telling you the data, which is why, as I said, economists were telling Americans, we know what is going to happen. Even if you have not witnessed it personally, that does not mean that it has not happened in the history of this country. We
Most of them
literally
been
have laws and
most of them are
legislations in
Monday morning
place
quarterbacks.
to prevent certain things from happening. And Trump actually did this back in 2017. He removed specific parts of Dodd-Frank legislation, which was put in place to help prevent something similar to 2008 happening. And Trump not being an economist himself, although, of course, he is now messing with tariffs and trade, in which I would absolutely consider messing with our economy, of which he has no knowledge whatsoever because he's just a businessman. He doesn't know the history or the data or the terms, which is why he messed up on the tariff.
The only
Um,
place he messed up on the tariffs is he went too aggressive.
so is the economy
That's
doing well or not? I'm confused. Are
well,
we happy
but
about what Trump is
Piggy,
doing
the
or we're not
economy
happy?
hasn't done well for over a year and a half. Trump was not in a year and a half ago. We saw the decline in the economy over a year and a half ago, caused by high interest rates.
But
That
that
is
was
what will
because of
always slow
COVID.
down the economy.
Why are we having a president mess with tariffs if we just had a bad economy, Cindy? I'm confused. Is he trying
I,
to make it worse?
again, if you look at the stock market, it does look like we're in a bad economy,
The
right?
stock market
But I
is
don't
not
care about the
an
market right
indicator of
now.
the economy.
But
Just
it is.
FYI, it's
But
not. It actually isn't.
Cindy,
that
the stock
real
market is
estate
still
and
down.
technology.
The stock market is still down from when he took office. Okay, about 1,000 points.
Hold
So
on,
just
Kara. We
no,
have the
the
Trump
Dow,
up.
the
No, no,
Dow. What?
no, no, no.
No, the Dow is down.
Okay,
I don't
now they're
care. It went up
down.
700
Okay,
points. Yeah,
fine.
it
The Dow's
is.
down.
Not
Okay.
every indicator is up. Number one. Number two.
Is the S and P 500 up?
Are you denying
Is
that
the S
Trump's?
and P
No, no,
500
no.
up?
I'm asking the questions,
No, see,
right?
that's what you do.
No,
You
it's
give
not
the
what I do.
negative. But is the S and P 500 up? Yes
Yes,
or
but
no?
Badgering the witness.
I was
Okay.
talking and you're
But you only brought
interrupting.
down the Dow. You only
No, no, no.
talked about
What
the
I'm
Dow.
trying to listen, my point is Trump's been a very erratic at the best. The best one can say is he has an incredibly erratic, weird tariff policy that only he seems to understand. 50% on Europe. Oh, I'm taking it off. I'm going to put it on July 1st, and then I'm going to take it off. You must acknowledge that
And I do. And
right. That is not
that's
that
cuckoo.
is definitely
That
adding
is
to
cuckoo. There would
right.
be
That's all I'm
nobody with a
saying.
half a brain in their head that doesn't
Right.
think that's all
That
cuckoo.
that's what I'm trying to say. That he is adding to
But
the
it,
economic turmoil. Let's just
no,
say.
he's adding to the uncertainty, which
Right.
when you have uncertainty, people start to close their pocketbooks up and go, okay, hold on, let me see where this is going.
If
Agree.
he's
I
such a
agree with
great,
you on all of
right,
that.
no, I understand. That's what I'm trying to
But
say.
if you're just
I'm
going
not
after a couple countries that were the important
well.
ones, I wouldn't have had a problem with
That
that.
right, but he didn't. He didn't do that, and he's still not
Exactly.
doing that. He's still being, oh, I'm going to put it on the iPhones that are made there, but not here, even though the components are made. I mean, it's like I don't. It's whiplash, right? Every day you get a new story, and we don't seem to understand because I don't think he understands, and I don't think the people in his government understand exactly what the game plan might be. I understand people are like five, chess, and 5D chess, but that doesn't make any sense because if he was truly doing that, we would all understand what it was. No one seems to understand this. I don't think he
And
understands
Cindy's
this.
correct. Jamie Dimon is not an economist.
Well,
Thank you, Shemai.
the thing about that, I was going to actually ask because Jamie Dimon did study economics, has an MBA from Harvard
But
Business
that's
School.
not how he made his billion. He's not a
No, no,
billionaire
no.
from
But
that.
what I'm trying to say is, I
So,
was going to ask you what you
and
consider
you
an
know that, Kara.
economist.
You
Nor is
know that,
No,
Kara.
J.P. Morgan.
what do you consider an
I just
economist?
said to you,
JP
it's been,
Morgan is dead. Whoever said that, he's
Well,
dead.
He was
yeah,
not an economist either.
JP Morgan. Yeah, I wouldn't.
he's, okay.
No, he's talking about the real JP Morgan. I don't, yes, we all agree finally, JP Morgan, the person is dead. Okay, this is great.
So
I
aren't
mean,
all of them that started, okay?
yes, Carnegie
Okay.
is dead. Rockefeller, the original John Rockefeller is dead. All these
All
people are
right.
dead. All right, do we want to go through the list of
They
dead,
also sunk the
No,
dead
Titanic.
no,
No,
billionaires?
we
we're
gotta
gonna
go to the
pivot in a second. So
economy.
go ahead and
No,
finish
I
your
mean,
point, Kara.
like I said, my point was that I do think that Trump has added to the uncertain. He's made the uncertainty in many ways. He's created a whole bunch of uncertainty out of nothing for no particular reason because his victories, such as they are, seem pretty ephemeral and probably could have been achieved in very different and less disruptive ways. So I just don't get this as the president who supposedly is the best business brain around. Thanks.
Well, would you say he's got a
All
better
right.
business? Hold on. Would you say he's got a better business brain than you and I?
Well, anybody has a better business brain than I do. So than you,
Okay.
I wouldn't be prepared to say that. I think you have a very
Well,
good business brain.
he's got a better business brain than I do too.
Well,
Look,
I'm not convinced of that, but for me,
he's
sure. Yeah.
okay. So we know he's not, your typical politician. We know he's not as presidential as we've all been used to seeing, right? But also, you got to understand that That guy has been a huge developer dealing with unions, dealing with the streets for a very long time. So that he knows, he understands all of that. He understands a lot that plays a big role in the economy. He understands unions. He understands a lot of things. Now, the tariff, nah, I didn't like that. Let's go after the whole world. That was absolutely the minute I saw that on TV, I went, Ray, come on. Come on, like this is fucking insane. And of course, at the beginning, Ray went for the first, 20 minutes. Yeah, I'd go after everybody, but that was the Revere kid talking in him, right? After an hour, we calmed down and said, okay, I'm going to relax now. I agree with you. But the long play, yeah, I do understand the long play. The short play, he doesn't have enough time. So he's going to have to pull back. But the problem is when he sets something in motion and pulls it back, and that doesn't look good. That's the problem. And that's what you're talking about. But some people, what? They open their mouth before they think. Probably 99% of people, we all do this in this room at some point. We open our mouths
Yeah,
before we
but
think.
he's the president. He
Well,
can't
he
afford
can.
to do that
But chat,
because he can
whether
write
he
policy
can,
by speaking,
whether he
right?
can or can't, he does it. Period. And there are people that agree with him, and there are people that don't agree with him.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. He shouldn't be doing it. Like when you look at this Harvard thing, Tara, and you look at everything that he's doing at Harvard.
You just want to keep. You just want to keep booty clapping Harvard. Go right
No, no,
ahead.
I'm not. I'm not.
No,
We're
it's
not
it's
booking.
not an issue of booty clapping
Yeah,
Harvard. It's an
exactly.
issue of
Let's.
Yeah, it
trying.
is.
Oh, come on! It's an issue of trying to destroy higher education in this country, trying to stop
Exactly.
international students from coming. And also, let's get real here, Cindy. And I'm Jewish, and I don't like a lot
The
of what
president of
Harvard
Harvard is
did.
Jewish.
Right. I don't
Me
like a lot of what
too.
Harvard did, but let me just tell you that the anti Semitism nonsense that he's saying is a pretext. It's a complete pretext for him.
Is it
He doesn't,
really?
yes, it totally is, because none of what
Okay.
he's saying, none of the federal grants for science have nothing to do with anti Semitism. The international students, the percent of them involved with anti Semitic activities is slim. Okay. This is all a pretext, and that bothers me. As someone who's Jewish and cares about anti Semitism, it bothers me. And Trump is trying to destroy higher education on a pretext of anti Semitism, because that's not the basis on what he has no legal authority to do what he's doing on that basis. And you know it, or you should know it, and I know it. And let me tell you, this is really upsetting to me, not because of Harvard, because slow walking visas for all international students, stopping all funding for cancer research, Alzheimer's research. All the things he's doing are making us worse, weaker, and stupider. And I do not understand, if you really believe in America
Exactly.
first, why you would do this. Why would anyone do this on a pretext of stopping Harvard from engaging in anti Semitism?
The
Because
blacks
that's
feel the same way.
You are not the spokesperson. Tara, I have a question for
But
you.
chat, Harvard's
Huh?
been doing that to black people too, that were highly educated that should
Oh,
have
you
gone
took
into
the
Harvard.
bait.
Okay,
That is
should have
not what he
had
meant.
a seat
Oh
at
no,
that
we ain't turning this
table.
room into a race room. We're not turning this room
No,
into a
we're
race
not
room.
talking about race. No, I'm joking.
Well, I'm just
Uh,
saying, talk about
but
Jews, we'll
but
talk
Turn
but
this
about
into
let
a
me
that.
race
let
room.
me ask the room, and I'll ask Tara and Cindy first, and then I will ask others. Why does Trump have his sights on Harvard? Besides what he is telling us, the conjecture he's telling us, what do you believe is the reason behind it?
Yes,
My
lady.
I
my
believe
personal
Tara.
that.
opinion, being a
Okay, Cindy, go.
Bostonian, I think he's got a hard on from Massachusetts to begin with, which I really don't blame him. But
Oh.
let's call it what it is, right? I don't think he likes Governor Haley. I don't think he likes Mayor Wu. So if we want to talk about him coming after Mass pretty hard, I think he's coming after a lot of blue states pretty hard. That's just my personal opinion.
I would agree with that, but I would also say that he doesn't like anything he can't control. Trump's whole modus operandi is, I want people to be under my thumb. I want them to acknowledge me as superior, etc. He thrives on that. Harvard, by fighting back, has literally, enraged him in ways that means he is just bent on vengeance. And I think he feels that way. I mean,
Based
this
on what, Tara?
what
Based on what?
Based on what do you mean? He's
Yeah, why do you
venged
think he's going after Harvard the way he goes after Harvard? Tell me.
because they fought back.
You think that's the reason?
Yeah, why isn't he going? Colombia has been in my judgment, has been infinitely worse in terms of anti-Semitism. I mean, I live near, it's a nightmare. Okay, they have let things happen that Harvard didn't even come close to, and yet he sort of has been very quiet about Colombia recently, hasn't he? Because they sort of caved, right? They said, "We'll work with you, we'll do whatever." The reason why Harvard is because they didn't cave, and that
Oh,
means that
they're
he's got to
caving.
up.
But
No,
They're
Tara,
but that
caving.
means they
They're
up the ante.
caving.
He ups the ante even more and more and more. But like I said, it's not based on anti-Semitism. It's based on the
Because
fact
you
that
have to be
somebody fought
Semitic.
back.
but Tara, that was a response. What was the initial reason? Why is he attacking Harvard? Because this is the thing. He isn't giving other universities like Columbia more money, but he's taking away. What does he plan on doing? I have so many questions. To the room. What does he plan on doing with this money that he's taking away, quote unquote, from Harvard? Is he putting it in other institutions? Like, because he could literally be doing that. I know that he pledged more money into
Yes,
HBCU.
he has. Yes, he
So
has.
he did.
Exactly.
He said
Because
that.
you
Like,
have to be
there.
Semitic.
Excuse me. I don't know why you're talking.
You
Um,
meant the HBCUs.
I'm black, right?
Yeah, so if you're
I got it.
black or HBCU, that still equates to
No, I,
Semitic.
I got it. I don't know
Which
what's
that
Shemaine,
should
happening.
be
so
I
no,
didn't need to
not
say
one,
Semitic.
one mic, one mic, one mic, one mic. Shemaine. Yeah, this is not that type of show. All right.
I was just
Well,
speaking truth. Nothing trying to interrupt.
you did interrupt.
okay, let's go. Let's
True.
keep it moving.
Yeah,
Uh,
so he actually pledged more money at funding, research, a couple of other things to HBCUs. So if he's taking money from Harvard, does that create another opportunity for another institution, right?
Yes.
Or a group of institutions?
Which
Now I haven't heard him say that, but that's what I would do.
it
So
belongs
what
to
if that
because
happens? Would that be
HBCU
acceptable?
are Semitic.
Oh my God.
who's that talking?
Yes.
We don't. Yeah.
It was a Quentin. Go ahead, Quentin.
No, I was wondering that too, because I'm like, Chat keeps saying she got it, and then he keep adding in. So I'm like, I don't know who this is.
Ma'am, we can't hear you. Speak up, please.
Shut up, Bart.
So HBCU should have the same presidency or whatever anyone would equate with Harvard because HBCUs equate to quote unquote blacks being Semitic. And if you do anything against them, as you want to say
No.
against
Go
Harvard,
on
no,
mute.
be
Did
quiet, let
you
me
go
finish.
to an
It would be
HBCU?
anti
You
Semitism.
didn't even go to an HBCU. You have a
You
hard
lie, lie. You
on.
don't know what
You
the.
just like
I'm
you
not gonna curse
didn't
at you, lady,
because
lady,
there is
lady,
no
lady,
way,
lady, lady.
sir. I'm
Just
not even
mute your
raising my
mic. You
voice at
can't kill me.
you.
I
I
have
don't
a
know what you're doing
degree
right
from
now.
Alcorn State
I don't
University. Let
know
me end
what you're
there.
doing, but I'm speaking. And you
Alcorn
obviously
State
don't know what
University
you're
is an
talking
HBCU,
about.
so all your comments
So,
are irrelevant.
anyone else besides this
Can I
man?
ask you, has Trump actually
Sure.
pledged more money to
He did.
HBCUs? Because no, he didn't. He gave an executive order saying he wanted them to increase things or whatever, but there's
Mm-hmm.
been no actual pledge of money.
Like
Read further. Read
he read
further.
no, well, no,
Yeah, she
but
No
did
actual
too.
pledge.
And
That's
I
right,
read it.
Tira. I've been putting some things in the
so
chat.
hold on, excuse me. Thank you. No, see here's the thing though, because I don't know if you heard the original point, right? Because he also didn't say that he was taking money from Harvard and giving it to HBCUs. My response or my question to you and to the room was first why, right? What is his heart on, and could it be possible that he is taking that money that he is not no longer giving to Harvard and giving that to HBCUs? If that could be the play, then no, he hasn't. So I'm asking, could that be the play, and what was
No,
the initial
the
reason?
He's
answer,
speaking
I
up for
do
the.
not that is not the play. Because he can't do that
Yeah,
because
that was a
Congress has to do
question mark on there.
I understand Congress has to do that. He can't just take research funds and sort of give it to someone else. Doesn't work like that. Congress in the new budget, I do not know how much they have put in place for research, right? I don't really know. I don't know what the education budget is. I'm not sure we even have those sort of details. Maybe they're there. But he can't actually do that. He can't even actually stop many of the contracts that he's stopped the courts are issuing injunctions, but he's still not giving them the money, even though it's in many cases illegal because the contracts were already awarded and they were performed, right? So a lot of what he's doing is just sort of outside the bounds of what he can do. But in terms of just taking money that was allocated for research to Harvard and handing it to an HBC, no, ain't going to happen. I don't know that there's any additional money for HBCUs. Somebody check this in the new
And
budget
that's
because
I've
that's
seen
where the
too.
money comes from.
Right. But see, the thing is, Tara, you just gave a logical response as if Trump has been adhering to any of this. Right. To prove your point, you actually just told us that Trump adheres to Congress, that he adheres to the budget. To prove your point, and obviously he hasn't. You can't speak from both sides. Either he abides and adheres to the congressional budget, or he doesn't. Which one is he?
Well, I'm not aware
Like,
that
just to
he's
make your point. So what?
right,
I don't
but I'm not
understand
aware that he is actually
because I'm.
when he has
Mm-hmm.
said I'm stopping funding. Okay, I'm not aware that that's real money or that he's actually taken that money ever and put it somewhere else. Are you?
Mm-hmm,
See,
mm-hmm.
I don't think he's done that. What I think he said is I'm stopping this, but I don't think the second part of it is happening, or at least not that I've ever seen. Even the wall. I mean, it's not like he took things this time around and used it for the Golden Dome or the wall. We haven't seen that, have we? So which he did do the last time he took for the wall anyway. So I believe a lot of this is just posturing. I mean, he's doing the stopping, but he's sort of posturing on the other stuff on how he's going to meet, and he hasn't even said he will, but how he might spend those monies. So I think we will see because Congress is going to put together a budget. They already have, and we'll see where it winds up from the Senate. And then we'll
Chat.
actually see what money is available. But Trump says lots of stuff about I'm going to fund this, I'm
He
going to do this, I'm
also
going to do
says,
that, but he makes up
he'll,
stuff. Sorry.
hmm he also says that he'll put a lot of money into vocational schools. Chat, read what I sent you.
Oh, okay.
Read what I sent you.
He said
And
he was
then,
going to take the 3 billion from Harvard and put it into trade schools, but we don't know that he's going to do that either or that Congress will
okay, but
allocate
listen,
that.
we got to go with what he's saying.
So
What you
No, no,
said
no.
earlier,
Cindy, we have already
Tara, you said there's no plan. He hasn't mentioned one word, but
I'm white
that's
on
not
my
true.
virus.
No,
He
I'm
I
just
has
said
going
about
mentioned, he
HCB.
has
I said
mentioned,
H
he has mentioned vocational schools, which
that's
is
the only
very
thing.
important in this country. We've lost our vocational schools. So come on. Not
Cindy,
everybody's a rocket scientist, Tara. We
you
need
have
vocational back.
yeah, but we also need rocket scientists, and to
We
take away
also
all the
need
money
more. You
from
know what?
rocket
We got
scientists
enough
is
rocket
completely
scientists.
wrong.
We need vocational.
No, this
We
is
do.
nonsense.
We
We
so
know
need
that it's
both.
not
let me
nonsense.
read what
We
you
You're not
need
said.
living in the
both.
real world. Let me
And
explain
We
something to
need
you.
both.
you
I
want me to
really
read what
don't
you
agree
said,
with that
Cindy?
anyway.
Go
So
right ahead.
and this is another thing. Trump gave over 200 million to HBCUs in his
Yes, he
first
did.
term.
It
So
was actually 80. It was
we
87. If
can't
you read the
say
details, you're wrong, chat. Read it.
we
The
can't.
deep
But did he? But okay,
And
he
Chad,
gave. Let's say 87.
Chad,
I still need to research that.
he
But did
gave
he or
that,
did he not give money to
he gave that on his
HBCUs?
first term.
Right.
Okay.
his
Did
Every
he?
first term,
Did he or
yes,
president,
did he
but
not give money to
on his
every
first
HBCUs? So
term,
we
president
yes,
can't
but
say
every
that.
every
And you got to give
got
Biden
credit
as
gave
where
a
much money,
billion.
Mickey, as
We
you
can't
every
got to give
say
credit
that
president.
he
He
time.
gave
doesn't.
the most
And I
money.
need to double check
No,
that.
Who muted me? Chat. He
You
gave
talking
Oh,
at the
wait a minute.
time.
he gave
Everyone
the
was
most
muted. Y'all
money.
don't hold on 1 second. Don't mute the stage, please.
He gave the most
If
money
people are
than anybody
co-hosts, it's
else.
not going to mute us. So I don't know who's muting the stage. It's not going to stop the exchange.
He
Cindy, he
just
did not give the
Chat.
most
Yes,
money.
he did.
No, Biden gave much more money. Go
Yeah, yeah.
research it.
Biden
It's
did get
we
more
know
Yeah,
money.
Biden gave
By
Biden
more
how
gave more
money to
money. We
much?
all know this. Come
HBCUs.
on, Cindy.
By
Just
how
Exactly.
much?
oh, but it was like a lot. It was like a billion compared to 87 million. It was a huge amount of difference. The thing is, Trump says things and you believe them, but that's why it's bizarre
Listen,
because Trump says a
Cindy,
lot of stuff
I
that
have
is
to listen.
untrue.
At some point, we have to stop believing something. We just can't say, okay, he's not going to give to vocational schools. What's he going to do with the money, Tara? Put it in his pocket?
so he
Is he
All
going to
I'm
stick it in his
authorized.
saying is
pocket?
there might not be this money in the budget. That's he might just the money just might not be there for any of this. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You believe Trump because he says something. Look, he's still saying that Canada is going to be the 51st state. That is nonsense. That is ridiculous. But he's still saying they're considering
Okay,
the
well,
offer. Come on,
So
Cindy.
one
You know
one
he makes up
second.
stuff.
So the future, it wasn't 87 million. I knew I don't know that number. It wasn't the first term. It was about 200, maybe 300 million in um, um, hurricane related relief, right? And on top of 100 million for scholarships. I think they finalized it to 89 million, but that wasn't the only thing he gave. It was 89 million.
There
Tara, you
was
may need to look into that.
255 million for schools,
The
but
Future Act,
only 87 million was allocated to HCBUs. That was HBCUs.
HBCUs,
Sorry,
and
sorry.
100 million for scholarships and research. And it was about 300 million in his first term for hurricane related relief. Because a lot of your HBCUs are in urban communities that were very affected by natural disasters. So there's that. Cindy, do you still want me to read it?
No, you know what? It
It
doesn't
passed?
matter
Okay.
because even if you read it, they're just going to say it's just words with no
Mm,
meanings, right? So
mm.
it doesn't matter.
All right. But
Let's.
who agrees with what Trump is doing with Harvard? Like, do you all, like, does someone think that these protests are creating more anti Semites? Get out of the way. Do y'all think that these protests are causing more issues, right, within these schools, right? Or is it their
Well, hold
right
on. Hey,
being
Shaq,
on
before you get
American soil?
No, no,
Shaq,
no.
before
What
you
do we
ask that
think?
You have
question.
the right to protest.
Never
You don't
mind.
have the right to intimidate. There's a big difference. Protesting is protesting. Intimidation is another word. Bullying is
Explain
another word.
explain how that's related to
I'll explain.
not giving federal grants that are already allocated for research,
Oh,
or
God.
not or taking Harvard out of the SEVIS program completely for foreign students.
Yeah,
Explain how
I
those are
explain.
related.
I explain. So,
You-
Tira, if he's going
But
to
Tara,
give
you know
anybody
what? I
to
have
somebody
to
that's
say
submitting,
something,
he should
Shamar.
give
Before
money
you,
to HBCUs instead of foreign individuals that are coming from out of country to our country to receive a degree from quote unquote Harvard.
We can't hear him. He cut out.
What
Uh,
happened to him?
I don't know.
I was following him.
Oh, he's
well,
on your
I don't know who
side.
did it. Whoever did it, if it's God or if it was the app, they're good
It,
because
it,
yeah.
it was the app.
It may have
Someone
been
on
both.
Okay.
It may
internet
Said
have
because if
been
it was
good.
both.
God
Okay.
wouldn't
Well,
do that.
It may
anyway,
have been
He
both.
said
yeah.
good.
No, I just
Anyway,
told you it
My
wasn't.
finger
So
was
can
a
I
little
continue to speak
tingly.
or no?
Charmaine, when you hear my voice, you know what, Charmaine, it's not even God, it's not even the app. Hey, it's gonna be me. All right, because
It's gonna be me.
so yeah, because
but
yeah,
Tara
this is not
and Jonathan,
one second, because we're not doing a shit show right now. Here's the thing. Let's not bring up foreign students, okay? Because foreign students pay full boat. All
we
right, they
all
don't
know
get.
that. That's no
I can't take off
newsflash.
for us,
Yeah.
but you want to take off for
Well,
everybody else.
Okay, so they pay full
okay.
boat. Yep, you got that right.
One second, Cindy. I got to deal with the bullshit.
I
Go ahead, Cindy.
graduated from
Go ahead, Cindy.
HBCU, Jonathan.
We all know that they pay full boat. No one
But
gets to see
Charmaine
anything.
just started off by saying we're paying for them. That's not, in
No,
fact, that's not
no,
true.
that's
He's
Not
not
what
wrong.
I
Yeah,
true.
but he's
stated. Cindy's
also
trying
one
to
of the
tell you.
No, most of them do. Most of them do self-pay all the money. And by the way, when those international students, especially when they come to Boston, parents buy expensive condos and they want secondary living. And then after first year, they take their kids off campus and they've got oodles and noodles of money and they buy real estate. That they do. I'll give you all that. They bring a lot of money, especially the Asians. But if you're going to bring in kids from other countries and they're going to protest against whatever it is, Jews, Americans, whatever, don't bring your ideology here to our country. We don't want it.
But
Now,
Cindy,
to get into, hold on, Jonathan, there's two sayings about Jewish people, okay? And Tara will understand this. Real practicing Jews, okay, especially we'll take the New York Jews that are real practicing Jews. They call the rest of them fake Jews, right? They are total Republicans. Tara, you know what I'm talking about right now.
Orthodox Jews are generally
Okay,
very conservative. That's correct.
that's right.
And if the
And
Israelite
they
or the
look
Jewish
at
people
Jews
crack,
that
they'll be Republicans as well.
don't practice
Why
their
are you
religion.
always?
They don't practice their religion. But Tara, no matter what Republican we get in, you are not going to like them because of your
my
age, number one. You grew up in probably a very Democratic family because most Jews were Democrats. It's changing, Tara. It's changing. You're going to see a lot of Jewish kids that at the age between 25 and 35 They are not Democrats, even though they got parents that are Democrats. They are not Democrats.
Yeah. But here
Samantha
What
you go.
doesn't
is
have
what
one.
does
Here's the thing.
that have to
Hold on,
One second,
Sam,
guys. One second, guys.
because
First of
Tara,
all,
no matter
hold on.
who gets in,
Cindy, one
Tara's
second.
values are going to stay with her because these have been
Yeah.
her beliefs her whole life.
what
Anyway,
does that have to do with
one
Trump
second.
and what he's
Yeah.
doing?
Well,
Wouldn't
one
matter.
second, guys.
It
You know
doesn't
what,
matter
guys?
if Obama was a
I know
Republican.
y'all here been
I gotta
talking.
do it. I gotta do it. Damn, I've been trying to get in and talk in this room for like
Well, them white women don't listen
Cause
to you,
Clubhouse is
JB.
yeah,
Good
fuck
luck.
chilling.
you
Chatter,
now.
y'all is going up.
Guys, listen to me. Okay. So anyway, first of all, Alan Garber, okay, he's Jewish. Okay, he's the president of Harvard. All right, let's start there, guys. We got a Jewish man running an institution that the president is saying
That
is anti,
apologized.
huh?
That apologized.
Yeah, one second. Yeah,
No, no. Well, let's tell the whole story.
no,
Let's
no,
just not.
I am testing. I'm telling the whole story. I haven't interrupted. Look, listen. I'm telling the whole story. I got to get the story out. It's like, it's my story. I got to put it
Okay,
like,
tell it your story.
and then I'm like, I want you to tell because I wasn't gonna say apologize. So you can say that after because I'm not gonna say that because I actually I forgot all about that. Okay, but what I'm saying is we have a Jewish man running an institution that's being accused of being anti-Semitic. Okay, now with that being said, what I'm saying to you is what's going on with Harvard University. Okay, the oldest and richest university in our country. And Cindy, you should be darn proud of them because they're right there in your backyard. You should be darn
Hmm.
proud of them. Okay, one second. So what I have to say is this right here. This president cannot get away with this. Cannot get away with this. And I hope that the Supreme Court stands up because it's actually I know the Supreme Court's going to stand up because the Supreme Court made a big mistake. And Chief Justice Roberts, he's going to fix it. I know he's going to fix it. They made a mistake last year when Trump v. United States, okay, when they ruled and said that he had that kind of immunity. Okay, they did not understand that when they ruled that way, that they were going to unleash someone that was going to expand the judicial power to their extinction. Okay, and one thing that the Supreme Court does not want is they don't want their powers to be eroded. Okay, and guess what? That Trump v. United States. Okay, pretty much allowed Trump to do just that. So what they're going to have to do is roll that back, and they will roll it back. Okay, they will roll it back because they did not think that this guy will come in and try to use that because he can't be criminally prosecuted. So pretty much he can do what the hell he wants to the Supreme Court and not be criminally prosecuted. So guess what? The Supreme Court is going to go back and put that balance, the checks back in to make sure that this thing is balanced again. Okay, that's where the Supreme Court did. The Supreme Court got us there, and guess what? They're going to do it with Harvard because they understand that if he does this to that institution, he can do to every other institution, including their institution. That's where we are, Cindy. I land with that.
Okay, can I rebuttal here?
Of course.
Okay, you mentioned Garber being Jewish, right? Which we all know that. Thank you. But he also played politics at Harvard, okay, to sustain that job. And then he had to what? Then he had to reverse and say he was sorry, right? He put out an apology letter. And they did a study going back how many years that this has been going on at Harvard? Did anybody read the study? Terry, you must have read the study.
Fuck Harvard.
Didn't read the study.
Grant, that you know what?
That's a
There's a
funny
lot of
now.
us. There's a lot of us in Boston that say those exact words. A
Fuck
lot of
Harvard.
us. That's a lot of us that say that. A lot. And guys, you've heard me say that in the room too. And Jonathan, you've heard me say exactly what Grant just said. So you know, Gabrick, you can say, "Yep, you said it. He's Jewish, played politics, and then he apologized."
It's never fuck Harvard. I'm sorry, guys. It's,
Okay.
I don't know, but
What's Harvard done? What's Harvard done for you and your people?
Harvard don't have to do shit for me and my people. I don't give a fuck about Harvard.
Because they ain't
Okay,
never done anything for your
uh, but
people.
but
It,
but
it
but
did
but,
give
but
us Obama.
okay, wait, I don't give a fuck about Harvard. Okay, but guys, I'm gonna tell you something. If Gavin Newsom gets in there and then start doing the same fucking shit to fucking Liberty University, okay? and all those other right wing universities and start doing all kinds of shit, you guys are gonna cry foul like, oh, why is he
That's a
going to
fact,
West? Okay,
Jonathan.
who the fuck is that talking? I know Charmaine's not back in here. If he is, it's gonna be a
By the way,
massacre.
Scotty Pippen told me to tell you hello, Jonathan.
Yeah, all right.
That's so cool.
So, oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying, Jonathan.
Appreciate that, Grant. Appreciate that,
Scotty said,
brother.
"Hey, tell your guy Jonathan Bing on chatter hello."
Okay.
He
He's
knows
like, I
what he
used.
did because Grant
He
just
said,
butt dialed. But Grant just butt dialed me. He didn't even know he butt dialed me, and he said
I said,
that.
I used to listen to you guys on Clubhouse anonymously.
Did he?
I'm talking about the Scotty Pippen,
Oh, he's listening to us. That's good.
Chicago Bulls Pippen.
Oh,
I was in
okay.
another
Hey,
one of these rooms.
Chicago. Hey, Sean.
I was in another one of these rooms that I guess Divine would say is a bad look on me because Donald Trump Jr. was there, Michael Saylor, Brandon Lutkin. Let's see who else was there. Oh yeah, terrible look for me.
Yeah. Nah, man. Nah, man. Those are the rooms you need to be in. He hasn't been back on the app since that night because he was quote unquote attacked. The women came back, but he hasn't. You gotta love the women. You gotta love the women. So no, that's cool. That's cool. That's
Anyway, you
really
were talking about how important Harvard is.
yeah, yeah. Harvard, listen to me. Because it's not, Grant, it's not about Harvard, okay? It's what Harvard represents. They're an institution. All right. We don't want our president to do that. I don't want Donald Trump. I don't want Donald Trump to be remembered for that. I want him to be remembered for some of the other shit he did. Because right now it's being vindictive, okay? And what he's doing is he's bringing the full power of the United States government down on an institution, okay?
An
And that's
institution that owns more real estate in one of the
Cindy,
hottest areas called Cambridge
Cindy,
and pays no taxes.
okay, then why don't he bring the institution down on the Koch brothers then?
No, but you
What
know
do you
what?
mean no?
If
What are
you
you
want
talking
to
about?
buy,
They pay no
listen,
taxes.
if you want to buy all that real estate in Cambridge, right?
But
That's
Cindy, you
triple
sound
A. Hold
you
on.
sound like a
Brother,
jealous
That's
real
bro,
estate
triple A
woman.
property. Pay the taxes on the property, not on the
Jonathan,
school, but pay the property and the tax. Pay property taxes. And you know what? I'll get off Harvard's back on that one. Why?
Jonathan,
Why do you
and
get to own?
by the way, Jonathan and Cindy, they're probably going to go broke without endowment money because the donations are slowing down. They can't grow their endowment uh, without raising money from taxes, and they're having problems with basically they over leveraged a bunch of their real estate. How can you fuck something up so bad?
Huh.
They got the fucking land for free. If you guys have never been to Harvard, they own 5 mile radius around it. Like it's total monopoly.
Forget about just that, Grant.
Don't they
All the
have $16 billion in
homes.
their
And
endowment
the
They
right now?
own
taxpayers, the
so
taxpayers,
much real. Rochelle, you need to listen. They
and you
own
guys that
so
don't
much
have
real
shit
estate.
funded it.
So, who bought all that real estate? Where'd they buy? Where'd they get the money to buy all that real estate? Please tell me. We're talking about triple A property values in Cambridge. Cambridge is very expensive,
Harvard's endowment is
So they
literally
have
the largest in the country.
right? So
53.2
why do you
billion
spend the
dollars.
Yes.
money?
And
They
we're
have
forgetting,
$53.2 billion,
right.
Grant.
So
Okay,
they could
so
literally just put that in a 4% high yield interest account and they would be fine. Are we also forgetting that some of the wealthiest people in the world literally graduated from Harvard? If they just asked their alumni to send funds, which I believe they have the most CEOs, Harvard will be fine. The Ivy League universities are, trust me,
first of all, they
the
number one,
least
they
of the
have to.
US is worried.
Okay, Nikki, they have to pay if they graduated Harvard, right? Why do you think the owner of Facebook left Harvard? Why?
Because his parents were wealthy, he also went
No,
No,
to a
no,
because
he
private.
left.
no,
He left
because he
Harvard.
came up with the idea at Harvard. He's going to pay into Harvard. Facebook would have to pay into Harvard for the rest of whatever his existence is.
Right, but
That's
there are a
how it
lot of
works.
people that left Harvard. He's also a billionaire. But what I'm telling you
But
is
but
that
he
He
left
wasn't a
because he was
billionaire when he
smart.
left, Nikki.
but he
He
went
was
to
smart,
a
He
and
private
he
school.
wasn't a
left
Did
for
he
a
billionaire
not
when he
go
reason.
left.
to Didn't he go to Exeter or something like that? Like these schools that fund Harvard, the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, the legacy admissions. By the way, Harvard is not wanting for money. They literally just made it so that if your parents make under a certain amount of money, they have promised you to attend the university free of tuition.
I know. They're gonna,
Harvard
Mickey, that's
is
called
Two hundred
tokens.
fine.
thousand.
Mickey, that's called, really? 200,000?
Under 200,000.
Okay, under 200,000. And you're gonna get your tokens in there. But you wanna be a token?
Why you have to? Why is it a token? If
What
Because
their
is
that's
grade,
what it
if
is.
their
what's a
if
token
That's
their
exactly?
grades
exactly what it
if their
is.
grades are good and
Right,
their testing is good, but they can't
guys,
afford to pay.
Michelle, you gotta wait. You
Token.
gotta wait. Well, you guys gotta wait. I gotta go back to Cindy.
Cindy
Cindy,
said it right. Token.
no. No, I don't care about that. I'll figure that out later. So, Cindy,
What's there to figure out?
why did Zuck leave?
Absolutely left because he knew
He
if
knew
he
what?
graduated from Harvard, whenever you graduate from Harvard and you go and you build a business up, if you use their computers and you use their desk and you use their school, you will keep paying into it forever.
No. Okay, I
Yes.
looked
No,
that
he,
up.
he actually
Yes,
founded
yes it
Facebook while
is.
he was still at Harvard. So if your theory is correct, they would have gone
Tara, I need
after
you.
him.
Tara, I need you.
Tara, Tara, you know how many
Like,
No,
trying
you
to
in and
scientists
out.
start
What did you
businesses.
say,
Tara, do you
Tara?
know how
Okay,
many
what I
science
said was
I'm gonna
that
prove I'm gonna give you
Zuckerberg
factual
founded
information.
Facebook when he was
Tara,
at Harvard. If
Tara,
Cindy was correct, can you hear me? If Cindy was correct, Harvard would
Go
have
ahead.
gone after him for royalties, etc., but they haven't.
they can't. He left.
But
But
he did. No, it's
let
not to do with
okay.
the fact that he
So hold
left.
on to my Tara. So how about all the scientists that have
Well,
worked right
no,
at
no,
hospitals? No, I'm going to
no,
cite you an example because I've got clients living in those
I know.
homes.
I want to hear her complete explanation. Wait, I want to hear
Of
her
course
complete
you do.
explanation. That way, I can receive. I want to because I want to better receive what she's saying. That's why. Okay.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So
If
because
you
she, yeah, go
use
ahead.
university facilities or resources to start your business, regardless of whether you leave or not, Harvard can go after you for some share of profits, etc., by saying that you use their resources to set up your business. That's typical of all universities. This is not a Harvard thing. Nothing to
It's
do with
not a
Harvard.
BU thing or a BC thing. So
I'm
stop.
sorry, every university has
That is
the
not true.
opportunity to do this. You're wrong. You're just
I'm
wrong.
not wrong.
Now, number two, Mark Zuckerberg, however, did set up Facebook. He started it when he was at Harvard. Harvard did not go after him. Why? Because it was a dorm room discussion with the Winklevoss, whoever it was, I can't remember now. And
Right. It
he
was the
set it
two
up
brothers. It was
Just
the
without
say,
two
choosing.
brothers.
Well,
just say
he
Crowded
stole
lent
it
them
from
the
whatever
money,
the.
and
What I'm
all
saying
Facebook
is,
was to judge
can you
girls
let me
on the campus.
finish?
Go ahead, I'm just telling you what it was.
No, no, no. But it was done informally and it did not use Harvard resources, which is why they didn't go after him. It had nothing to do with him leaving or not graduating. You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. If he continued to stay there for the 4 years and built up Facebook the way he was building it up, right? And got away from, remember what Facebook started at Harvard was to judge the girls. Who were the hot girls? Who wasn't the hot girls? You do realize that, right? That's how
Yes,
it
yes,
started, right?
yes. That's how I started. That's how I started.
Oh, okay. So I just
The
want to make sure.
Facebook, the Facebook. Yes, go ahead.
That was absolutely just in Harvard at that time for guys to say, "Oh, that girl's hot. This girl's hot. That's all it was, right? Then it spread out to other colleges later. He left Harvard. Okay, there's reasons why he left Harvard. He
He left
saw
He
Harvard
something.
to
left
run
Harvard
a
to get funding,
business.
to
No,
But
get
he
but
funding to
didn't
go to
do
have
Palo
the
Alto.
business going.
No,
He
he went
did
to Palo
not
Alto,
have that
Cindy.
up and running for the. Oh my
but
God.
do we know how many businesses are started at Wharton? I can't even remember which one, but there's literally a group of students that wrote up something for their professor, got funding, and I can't remember. Does anybody remember? There's so many. Actually, there's so many
So
instances like this.
explain to me.
The
Okay,
university does not get equity or a percentage of
they
revenue.
absolutely do, and I'm going to cite
No,
you
they
another
don't.
example. Mickey, I got a client that's a scientist. Okay, scientists don't make money. Let's get that straight. They don't
Scientists
go.
don't make
They
money.
don't get into. Let me finish. Let me
What?
finish.
Wait, what do
No,
you
they don't.
consider
They
money?
do
Yeah,
not
let
go.
her finish, Miki. I want to
Okay,
hear what
they
she has to say.
do
Need to
not.
respond.
Scientists do not go in to becoming a scientist because they're money hungry. That's not the truth. They come in because they want to save and cure diseases. The last thing they think about scientists are money. But if you land upon a pill, right? One of my clients did. Okay, his team at Harvard Medical, right? Who got most of the money? Who gets a lot of that money?
because
Harvard did.
they use the Harvard's research and all the medical
Okay.
Because it's
equipment.
the
Okay.
resources, the
Yeah, the reason
test
that's
is
just saying
whether
Okay.
the
you
There you go.
use.
resources there.
Okay.
Jesus, the
There you go.
test is whether you use significant resources of the university. There are different variations of the policy. But by the way, BU has an even stricter policy. I don't know what you're talking about. This is not unusual, okay? If you use university resources, if it's developed in a class, or if you're using the significant university resources to develop things, the university has ownership rights in that, or at least that's what they say. That is typical. That is common. Go to MIT. Go look at their policy. Go to Stanford.
MIT has it too. Stanford
You will
has it
see the
too.
same thing. What I'm
Where
trying
is
to
that?
say is it's
Where's
not
that
a
at Where
Harvard
is that
thing.
at Northeastern?
I don't
Where is
know the
that?
rule. I know
Tira,
BU,
do
I
you
know
have an
Where is
MIT, and I
that
know
at Boston
Stanford.
College?
Tira, do you have an example of a university claiming rights or entitlement to a particular idea or research done by undergraduates? Because it's 11:54, but my sorority sister, who is my bestie, has a PhD from the University of Houston. She does not work in healthcare. She works in pyrotechnics. She makes a hell of a lot of money. I don't know what people consider money, but I consider 3 to 500,000 a hell of a lot of fucking money. And I am
That's
happy
the
to get
problem.
her on
That's the
here.
problem.
She is oh my God. $500,000 is not a lot of money. Number one, she has been published
You said
well over
300,
a
300
dozen
to 500.
times. She has also worked on staff at Berkeley. I am happy to get her on the phone to answer these
Why do you and
questions.
Kira have to scream
Do it,
to make your point?
Mickey.
This is not me screaming, Grant. This is me about
Well,
to sob
let me
for
hear
the
what
state
screaming
of the
sounds like, because
education
that sounds
system
like
in this
screaming to me.
country because my God, scientists just become
Why are
scientists
you
for
screaming right
research.
now? You're still
Why do
screaming.
you think we have
Why do
makeup?
you, a
Or
sort of white guy, think you
Jesus
can tone police
Christ.
every woman? That's what I
Why did
want to
white
know.
guys get thrown
Mickey,
into
Yeah,
they're
why
this?
do
just
white guys get put on
anti-education because they're not
opportunity to
smart.
tone police women?
I want to hear more about the pyro girl.
So you think a
Fireworks?
scientist that spends the
Yeah, she
money to
did
go to Harvard?
pyrotechnics. And you
Hold
know
on.
what,
So you
Barth?
think a scientist that spends all that money to go to
She is a
Harvard,
scientist. She is
go
a
to work at a
PhD in inorganic
hospital, they
chemistry.
make a $500,000 all day long?
Everyone doesn't go in healthcare. You really think only scientists work in healthcare?
A lot of
Oh
them
my
do.
God. But
A lot
all
of
of
them
them
do.
don't, sweetie.
I
All of
didn't.
them don't work in
Nikki, I never said a
healthcare.
lot of them do.
You
I
said they
never.
work and do
A
research. You know
lot of
that
them
all of
do
them don't
work
do
in
research.
research. Yes, they
You can do
do.
research, or you can go into academia, or you can go to corporate America and make tons of money. You can even go to the military. So, yes, my sorority sister literally works with pyrotechnics. And do you want to know who was funding the research at Berkeley? Am I telling too much? Shit. Well,
Yes.
let
Yes,
me
No,
shut
ma'am.
up.
please go. Please keep
You're
going.
overly offended. Love you.
Yeah, please do. Let's
Well, the
shut up
half a
part of
million
you.
dollars your Betsy
You
makes
you shut
after
up, Grant.
taxes, she's making about 280
Grant,
a
stick
year.
your unwashed fingers in your
She's
mouth
making
and
she's
suck it.
making three she's making
Oh,
she first of all, she's not making 500.
She's
Okay.
making
what?
280.
She
You
might be
talking about the
making
tax? You
300.
talking
She's
about
Grant,
the
you
probably going
tax?
to
can't
be
even
making
spell
300, Cindy.
Berkeley. Please sit this one out. You can't even spell Berkeley. Hush, sir.
Okay. And she ends up with half of it, maybe 140. After a mortgage, she's broke. So I don't know what
She
a ton of
doesn't
money
have a
is to you,
mortgage,
but do some
sir.
math.
She
Well,
doesn't
then
have a
then
mortgage.
then
She
she
doesn't have a
definitely does.
mortgage.
She's definitely broke because she paid cash. Where does she live?
Maybe she inherited a house. Have you ever heard of that? You think? Maybe? No?
Uh,
Okay. I forgot you grew
no,
up
no,
poor. So
I
what
didn't
would you
inherit
know about
anything.
inheriting property? Of
I
course.
didn't inherit
I'm
anything.
sorry. I know you didn't inherit shit. You didn't grow up with shit. So can you please stop speaking and let somebody else
But
who
even more
maybe can speak
reason,
to this talk?
Okay,
Winnie,
okay.
Okay.
Winnie, hold
There
One
on.
mic,
goes
guys.
the
Don't.
gangster.
Yes, please
Boom.
let
There we
people
go,
go.
guys. There you go, guys. Let's do a quick reset. Hey, guys, thank you guys for being here. Debate the news, man. We're excited. Man, it seems like a lot of excitement taking place here.
Seems like people
Harvard,
get triggered
yeah, talking
easy.
about Harvard, yeah, talking about Harvard. Yeah, Harvard. I think we
Triggered
can.
on Harvard that's never done anything for anybody in the room, and you
Yeah,
guys all funded it, and you guys are dumb enough to fucking defend it.
Why is
That's
he
the
messing up
crazy
the
Yeah.
thing.
reset?
guys, that was me. I didn't mean to. I thought I was unmuting the
Yeah, but
room.
Grant, we also fund your real estate tax deduction.
You
So
don't. You don't
I would rather
fund.
my money go to
You
Harvard
don't
than
fund.
you, I can assure
That
Mickey,
you.
we're
is
doing a
not
reset.
true.
Yes, we do, baby. The
Oh
same
God.
bucket. It's the
But
same
Mickey,
bucket of money.
Mickey, let me
You.
ask you a question. You're a wealth advisor, or you were a wealth
You do
advisor.
No,
You
not
we're
fund.
not
retired.
You do
going this
not fund
road,
my
Well,
Cindy.
no, no.
depreciated
My
We're
tax
no,
my
no, no,
deduction.
point
no,
is,
no, no, no,
no,
no,
no.
no, no, no,
But
no.
no,
Each
hold on.
one of
I
us
was
has
in.
$5 worth
All right,
No, no, no,
guys.
no,
Here we
no,
go.
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
Wait
no,
a
no,
minute.
no, 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 no.
I
No,
was in the.
Yo,
Wait,
if I
I
I'm
hit
was.
just
mute
Hold
the
on.
all,
Let me
token
yo,
make.
wealth
no,
advisor. I'm just
yo, if I fucking hit mute all, don't unmute. What's wrong with you?
She's a
This is
wealth
crazy.
advisor. How many families do
So,
you
so,
advise? One?
I'm a token,
Why?
Grant. I'm a
guys,
token.
I was
guys,
saying.
Can
listen
I
you
to
just.
me.
hear Jonathan
Arthur,
real
can you
quick?
just
I
make?
just said, yo, look, guys, look, chill out, man. Let's take five. Wow.
It's what happens.
uh,
That's what happened when Mickey and
Why
Tara
y'all
start
let him
yelling.
keep doing that?
So that's what
There's not
happens
an
when
I in
you.
my name.
Grant, come in.
I
Yo,
just
Just
Grant,
want
stay
to
come
calm,
make.
in.
guys.
Listen,
Never.
let me make a point, then I'll leave your room.
Let
How's
your
that?
facts. Let your
Don't
facts be
leave.
your
Don't
argument.
leave.
Let me make my point, and I'll
No,
leave.
Cindy,
Okay?
don't leave, honey.
No, I'm tired. Whether you're a wealth advisor, whatever you were, I sat in many of your clubhouse rooms. You were highly educated on what you were talking about, which was wealth advising. Explain to people how and how they should invest their money. Right? We had many rooms like that. Am I correct? Okay. Well, I am correct. So when you sit here as a wealth advisor, if Ray had clients that only were worth $500,000, right, that would be a problem for Ray.
That's not what
So
she
as a
said, though,
wealth
Cindy.
advisor, no, she said $500,000 is a lot of
She said
money.
that was her salary.
And she said that's a
No, she
lot of
didn't actually
money.
say that. She said she earned somewhere between 300
She
and 500.
said that
She
that
did
was
not
her
say what the
Y'all
monthly
was
salary.
not.
salary
Y'all
was.
was not listening to
She
her.
Earned in
She
her
did not
listen.
say
position
that.
as a
She
scientist.
actually,
What I do know, what I do know is this is not a space that we attack people's salaries. That's not what we're here to do.
We don't
I,
even know
no,
the
but
person. We
what
don't even
we're
know the
attacking,
person.
what we're attacking is the fact that she loosely said one of her best friend and maybe her client made somewhere between, first of all, a lot of money, and then we said how much is a lot of money, and then she said 300 to 500,000. So we're
I
not
think she's.
attacking
That's
anybody's
I think
good
she
salary.
said
money
five
though.
hundred
Who
thousand.
is there to
She
say that's
said
not good
300
money?
to 500, and then she committed to the higher number.
I think she said that
No,
after she
Yeah,
was
because
because
she
she's
told
said
been
that
in
that
the
Well,
wasn't
she's been in
anything.
the
and that
industry
it
for
was a
decades,
problem.
sir. She does consulting and she has a 9 to 5. Do you know how? You know what? Let me stop. It's all right,
But
sweetie.
regardless,
yeah,
she
please
You're a
gave you
don't.
wealthy,
Thank you.
perspective,
Don't.
privileged
Grant,
white
and you
man.
you
You're
said that
fine. You're good, boo boo.
$500,000 is not money. You literally said that. She gave you
I did say
perspective.
it. I did say it because
Right.
I remember
Okay.
when I thought
If
it
the
was
person
money,
is earning it annually, and
and
so
then
you're saying that
and
that's not a
then
good salary.
when I earned it the first time I earned it and realized I didn't have
Hmm.
anything left over, I realized it was a fantasy that was not
Okay,
a
that's
lot
who
of
So
you.
money.
what? You couldn't manage
That's
your
who you
money
were,
or
Not to
Trumpton.
something?
everyone,
You've
by the
lived
way,
a
to
life and
everyone.
walked a path that most people have not lived and walked. Right.
yeah,
That's why
but
you
listen,
should
Rochelle,
listen.
Rochelle, that's why we want to hear from him, honestly,
No, we
because we
Yeah,
don't
don't.
always have
because
an opportunity to hear that.
No, we
if you
don't.
haven't been
You've
there,
heard it a
how would
million
you
times,
know?
Daphne.
If you haven't been there, how would you know? And Rochelle, you haven't been there. Let's keep it real.
I haven't been where, Grant.
You don't have any experience in this area, so why don't you just like admit that? Like that's not a
So,
problem. I don't have
Oh,
any
What does he
judgment.
got
so,
to admit?
so you're saying, so
Wait.
you're
Let me say
saying,
This shit
something.
pissing me
You
off.
don't
I'm on
know. You
Clubhouse.
don't
Rochelle,
actually know if 300
Rochelle,
grand's
let
a
me
lot of
say
money or
something.
not.
Is that the
oh,
criteria,
why
Grant?
wouldn't I know that, Grant? How do
Wait.
you know?
Because
I don't know.
you
How do you
don't
know
know what
that?
it costs to live at that level, so you wouldn't know.
So wait,
How do
criteria,
you know that though?
And
Grant.
Tira, you wouldn't know either.
How do you know
Grant.
that?
So your
How do you know that,
criteria
Grant?
is Rochelle. Really? Can you let me do this,
Go
Grant? Your
ahead, Tara.
criteria is that if you don't
Can
know
you do it
something, you
without
can't
yelling though,
talk about
Tira?
it. Your criteria, I guess, is you just said if you don't know something, how can you talk about it? You don't know anything about half the things you talk about. You've never read a court case, to my knowledge. You speak about things about Harvard.
Well,
You're talking
we're
about
not
legal
talking about
laws.
court
No,
cases
no,
right
no,
now. We're
no,
talking about
no.
money.
But you were talking about Harvard before. We were doing all this stuff. You constantly talk on things you
Why are
know
you going back
nothing
to Harvard?
about. If that's your criteria, then shouldn't you be shutting up?
I think his
I
point
had
was, Tara, it's very
Actually, one of the
Oh,
simple.
he needs to
co-hosts.
be
When you make a
Excuse
defended
me.
now,
half a
Excuse
Cindy?
me,
Tara,
Cindy.
hold on.
One of the co-hosts of the room said they were actually interested in what I was saying because of my experience, Tira. I don't know
Go
if you heard
Talk
figure.
that.
about,
the
you
The
same
same
just
co-host
co-host
said
that
was
already
you
saying.
know.
shouldn't be talking about stuff you don't know about, and you talk all the
I
time
only
about
talk about
stuff you
stuff
know
that I know
nothing
about,
about.
Tira, as you know.
Nothing about.
All right, okay.
All he said was this: if you make a $500,000 a year, right, and after taxes, federal and state, you're probably going home with 280, 300, maybe 310,
No, not even that.
depending where you live, Grant, because I don't know their state taxes, right? But you're in the high tax bracket if you're making that, right? So,
He
And
said
Cindy, you also
generically.
have to
and then
factor in.
Well, listen, you guys haven't really given Grant
how
the
do we
stage for a
put
second.
somebody, how do we, hold on,
Well, they're all
how do
talking
we,
over each
I
how
other.
do
love
we,
how four women are
how do
saying what I
we,
said.
how do we put somebody
Exactly. I'm just
down?
saying, like literally, like, do you guys want to hear
But
what he has to
how,
say? You haven't done it.
how do you put somebody down that started with nothing and ended up to where he is? That I don't, I have an issue with that.
Who's putting anyone
Who
Cindy,
did
down?
that, Cindy?
What
Cindy,
are
let me
we
tell you
doing
something.
right
Saying
now?
Hold on,
Grant
guys.
is
the
putting
Hold
rich
people
on.
man,
down.
the
Another
rich
factor
man.
He's
to
putting
take into
people down for
consideration.
what he
No,
believes their
Daphne,
money
can I
is.
say
Oh
something real
my
quick?
Now
God.
stop. Yo,
Can I
what the
say
hell?
something
Yo,
real
no, no,
quick?
no. If you're gonna
Stop
co-host,
it,
don't laugh on
Banksy.
the stage. Like what the hell? We trying to get shit under control. But go ahead. Who's talking? One at a
Jonathan,
time.
Kadisha speaking. Kadisha
They
speaking.
all talking at the same
So
time. I think they all want to fuck me, Jonathan.
another factor, once you take out taxes and cost of living, you also have to take out that cost for education, right? Because they're paying back a hefty student loan. So at 500,000, by the time you take out all that expenses, is really absolutely nothing, and you're trading time for dollars.
thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Are
Thank
you
you.
serious right now?
Yes,
So,
I'm
She's
very
very
so
serious.
serious.
every person that
Very
has a
You got to
serious.
have a different
PhD,
comeback, Mickey,
you've
than are
never
you
heard of an
serious?
endowment or the what's the Microsoft guy? You've never heard of the Bill Gates scholarship? Clearly you haven't. Okay, no problem. You can go back on mute.
But nobody,
Okay, no
not
problem. I'll
everybody
go back
gets
She's
on
that,
not
mute.
into
Nikki.
child trafficking.
Not everybody gets that. Ken is right. By the time you make a $500,000, then you pay your taxes, then you pay your college loans back. What's left? What's
So is
left?
this person does this person die at 30? Because let me tell you something. If you start making $150,000 a year when you graduate with your PhD, let's just say that you're 26, 27 years old, you may get some university grants depending on how many time you got published or what you worked on.
How
You
many
may also,
university
may I
grants have you
finish?
had, Mickey?
You may also get,
How many university grants have
I
you
don't
had,
really
Mickey?
want to respond to someone
She
that
got
can't
enough.
see
How
there's
many?
not an
She
I
got
in my
enough.
name.
How many in round
How many
numbers?
friends do
In
you
round
have with
numbers, how many?
PhDs? We could do
How
this
many?
all day, Grant. You didn't even know what inheriting a house was. You don't even know what a mortgage is. So I would sit this one out.
Okay,
So first of all,
Come
right.
on, Nikki. You
You
guys
Jonathan.
can
know
go
what a
ahead and
mortgage
continue to
is?
interrupt me.
That's so dumb.
'Cause, yeah. Anyway, like I said, this conjecture is insane. Someone annually
Wait,
making
what was
any
that?
particular salary, it does not mean that they're always going to. We're literally talking about someone's annual salary. Depending on how old this person is, it does not mean that they're left with nothing. Only 8% of Black Americans make over six figures a year, and about 12% of individual Americans make over $100,000. So, for anyone in this space, especially when we talk about the economy and income and wages and bonds and yields and whatever you're in, for you to poo poo anyone making $300,000, $500,000 is nothing when that's literally the 1% of the 1%.
No one's
I don't
pooing
know what
on
to
it.
tell you.
No one's,
Someone
Nikki, no
literally
one's
said
pooing
a
on it. We're
hundred
just
thousand dollars
saying,
is nothing. Three to hundred
once
five
you go
thousand is
in,
nothing after you pay everything.
it,
Then what
it,
does the
it,
average American do?
You're actually the one. You're the one that said you're a financial advisor, which I don't
I have
believe.
never said I'm a
And
financial advisor.
number
No, I
two,
have
you
not.
said
That's
I've
because
never
Nikki's in
$300
said
the
to
that.
fed
five
file.
hundred. Excuse me. You said 300 to 500 is a
And
ton
you
of
said
money.
that was nothing. It is a ton
And
of
I
money
said
when you look at the
actually,
median income
excuse
for the
me.
country, Grant.
You
I just
yelling
gave you the
doesn't
data
make.
because it's frustrating. 12% of
You're
Americans only
yelling.
make $100,000,
So
and it's
what's that got to do
disingenuous
with
of
it?
y'all to make it seem like that ain't shit.
It
What are we
ain't.
talking about
It
right
ain't
now?
shit. It
Well,
ain't
then
but
I'm
shit.
the,
sorry.
Everybody in the room
but the
needs to know.
cost of
You just
living,
pissed on 85% of Americans.
no, but
And
the
But
I'm
cost of
not
Grant act
shitting on
like
living,
Grant
anybody.
act like he's had his money his entire life. Have
Yeah.
you, Grant?
Right.
Have you
Yeah,
your
now all of a
entire
sudden
life?
you don't know what it's like to be poor. I
What
guess
I'm
your
trying to
parents
tell
made over
people.
$100,000 too, huh?
What I'm trying to tell people is Santa Claus ain't real, the Easter Bunny's not real, and 300 grand's not a lot of money. So if you guys want to believe in the myth and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, and you want to believe the government's going to take care of you, keep listening to Mickey's bullshit. But I'm telling you the
Mickey, if you're
truth.
gonna insult me, can you at least get
but
my
the
name
devil is
right?
real, right, Grant?
And let Rachel
The
scream
devil
and
is
yell
real, right,
racism.
Grant Torre? The devil is real, right?
Dude, whatever you think is real, go for it. Like I'm just telling you guys,
Mm-hmm.
300 to 500 grand in almost any city in America is not what it was when your parents were raising you. $1 million is
Oh no
not
shit.
Who said it
rich anymore.
was? Why you
Yeah.
keep moving the goalposts? Who said it was?
Mickey,
Nobody said
Mickey's the
that.
one that said it's a ton of money. I said,
She
we
said it
said,
was the same
what is
money
a
that it
ton of
was
money?
back in the day. Is that what
No,
she
she
said?
said my bestie makes a lot of
But did
money
she say it was the
at
And
same
we
money
said,
as
Unit.
what's
back
a
in the
lot of
day?
What
money?
we're
Okay,
saying is that
so
even
wait,
if you
what's a
make
lot of money to
that,
you
And by the
guys?
way, the same people are supporting Harvard and getting tax dollars that has $58 billion. It don't need tax funds
Maybe we should do
to
away with
support
tax
its.
deductions for real estate investing. What do y'all think? That would save us a lot of
Well,
money in the
no,
budget.
I, I
nobody needs a tax break. Look at the tax breaks
I
in
think we
these
should
beautiful
get rid of
bills.
them. Absolutely, Mickey. By the way, I
Nobody should get
absolutely
a
agree
tax
with that.
break. No one should get a tax
Absolutely.
break. The churches shouldn't get a tax break. Nobody should get a tax break.
No, you're
That's the way
right,
you feel.
Rachel. We should just impose a 10% flat tax, and then we'll see who's really good at making 9 to 5 income and
I would
who's
love
just
that. I
been
would love a
propping up
flat tax.
valuations
Amen
based
I
to
on
would
real
love that,
estate.
Mickey. That's
Let's
the
do it.
smartest
A
thing I've heard
thousand
you say
percent.
tonight. Flat tax, no
Yep.
write-offs, no nothing.
No
Just
more
a
40
flat
or
tax.
50%
easy
deductions,
peasy.
depending on what you invest in,
Fill it out on a
depreciated
goddamn
assets,
postcard and
all of
send
it.
it into the
Let
IRS.
it
I'm
go
all for
away.
it. Fill it out on a postcard and send it into the IRS. No write-offs, no nothing. Flat tax.
Oh,
Whether
that
Chatter,
might
or
be in the
not.
Totally
IRS.
believe in that.
Chatter have any policies or guidelines? Because they
Yes.
really should have guidelines that anybody
You
that
over there every
talks
day. You should
or
know, Grant.
educates about
For you,
finance,
Grant,
Listen,
you
let's let
shouldn't be
him
No
they
doing
one
should
is
that.
have
ramble
a
a
educating
little
about
bit.
finance,
Yes,
sir.
let's do
they
that.
should
One
have
And
a
mic
put in the
policy.
behind.
guidelines that Grant can't speak about anything other than real estate. I'm going for
One
that one.
mic
Why
on.
does he need to? He does very well in that space.
He no, but he speaks about lots of things. He's always talking about politics, about education. Now he's talking about Harvard, things he
I
knows
talk
nothing
about you a lot,
about.
Tara.
Nothing
I
about.
talk about how you're a terrible
Absolutely,
debater when you start raising your voice.
absolutely. We should have that rule. You can't talk
Grant, you
about
can't
anything
debate
but
at
real
all.
estate. Great. I'm going for it.
No, I think the point though that you missed out on because you're trying to overtalk right now and you're triggered. You
Uh-huh.
get triggered by me so easily.
No,
Okay.
Grant, you're
So
Get
just
the
what I'm
question
I don't
suggesting
know.
is
Tara,
before
he's
No,
got
you
people,
no,
want to
Grant.
he's
It's
see.
got
it's your lack of
two of the
education that
excuse me,
triggers
best.
people.
He's got two of the best wealth advisors out in this country right now.
Cindy, it
That
doesn't
no, hold
matter. He
on, Tara.
talks
He
about
does.
lots of stuff he
He,
doesn't know
but he
anything
does. He
about.
does learn from these people, right? Might not be in his wheelhouse, but he
He
engages.
doesn't know. Do you think he knows anything about the law? Do you think he's ever
Let me tell
read
you
a
something.
legal case? Anything?
Ray's not
What?
even going to. Ray's not
how,
even
how many
going
how many
to.
lawsuits, Tara,
Ray's
Talking
have you
about
been
Don't
in?
Ray,
move the
Ray's not even
goalposts. Don't move
excited
the
for me
goalposts.
at Grant's event. He's
I'm
more
not
excited
talking
about the
about
brothers that are
Ray.
coming
I'm
in.
talking about Grant. Do you think he's ever read a
Tara,
legal case, ever read a decision, ever read
Tara,
a
have
statute,
you
anything?
ever been, Tara? Have you ever defended anybody in court?
I am not answering any personal
Oh, because
questions,
you
and you know that.
haven't. Because you haven't. What a fucking joke, Tara. 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 You can't even fucking. You
I
can't even
don't
tell us what
answer
you've done.
questions, and you know
Man, why
that
you
because I
knocking her like
refuse.
that?
Okay, because I've been in 4 or 5 lawsuits, 5 lawsuits now, and won every one of them. I've been in 4 audits,
That's not
won
You
every
have
that's
one
not
of
not
them.
nothing
been
to
the
brag on.
lawyer. You're just the
Yeah,
client.
I don't
Period.
need to be a lawyer
Exactly. You
any
wouldn't
more
Yes,
than
you
speak for
you
do.
guys.
yourself.
You do
No, no, I
because you
don't.
don't know
I
dick
don't need to
squat
be a
about the
lawyer to
law.
understand the law,
No,
and I
If
don't
Grant.
need.
if
I don't
TC
need
can
to
be
be
a
a
chat
doctor to
GPT
understand
lawyer, I think
COVID.
Yeah.
anything is
Excuse me.
possible.
Grant wants you
Excuse
It's a
me.
to
fact
Right,
check.
talk
right,
about
chat.
things you know nothing about
Excuse me.
all the time.
And I don't need to be a doctor to understand that COVID was a scam, Tara.
Well, Grant, why
So
don't you let the
You're not
people
you're the
go for
same
educated
you
in
in
that
person,
court?
field,
Tara.
Grant.
You're the
You're not
Grant,
same
educated in
person,
why?
that
Tara.
field to make that
You're the
statement.
same person, Tara. Excuse me. You're the same person, Tara, that said I was not allowed to give my opinion on COVID because I wasn't a
Pushing me
doctor.
Drop
down,
me.
Grant.
Did you drop
Did
me down, Grant? Did you do it?
He
No,
did because he dropped
Screw
me too.
you.
He did.
What a
I didn't drop anybody
He
childlike
down.
dropped us
man
both. Yes,
child
you
you
did.
are.
I
What a
didn't drop
man
anybody
child,
down. But if somebody dropped me
immature
down, I'm
little
glad they
person
did.
you are.
Grant?
You're a little
Tara.
immature
I
person.
did not drop
No,
you
come
down.
Tara.
on, come on, come
Nobody
on,
believes you,
guys.
Grant.
Okay, no, no, look, Tara, just leave the room. Come right back. You're co-hosted
Yeah,
automatically.
leave the room and don't come back.
Come right back. You're automatically co-hosted.
That's what we trying to get Grant to do. That's the crazy
Okay.
part.
I love it.
I'm happy to leave, man.
No,
Grant,
no,
why
no,
do you
no.
have
We want
attorneys
everyone coming
representing
back.
you
We
in
want
court?
everyone in their feelings and everyone coming back.
So I don't.
I don't know why you can't handle what facts are. Facts is
Tara,
facts. Money's
Tara,
money.
Tara and Mickey and Rochelle.
Mickey.
Mickey, you guys get triggered too easily.
Well,
Hubbard
you
is
just
just
not
not phonics,
triggering
man.
nobody.
You have issues, and we all know it. And
I'm
are you
having
eating
fun with
again? Are
you.
you in the bathroom eating again? Damn it! I wish you'd stop. It's rude, but if you want to, fine. Listen, we
It
were
tastes
discussing.
better in the
That
bathroom,
I
Terry.
don't know
Jeez.
why he
that's
always
bad.
goes to
That's
the
bad
bathroom. It's a
hygiene.
little
That's
weird, and then he
nasty.
doesn't wash his hands. We all know that. He's already
Exactly.
told us this,
That's
but
nasty.
it's sad.
It's
Anyway,
extra seasoning.
do we?
Chat, you better
I
stop.
don't
Chat,
know
you better
where
stop
that
agreeing with that
is.
Give
now.
me
I
your
don't
Right.
even
phone.
want to know. Do we want to
Okay.
discuss Harvard at all, or do we want to move on from this, or do we want to discuss Grant's immaturity, which I'm happy to do either.
It's just crazy to me that people that are never going to get invited to go to Harvard want to fund Harvard out of your tax dollars. It's
Grant,
unbelievable to
every
me.
university, this is something you do not understand, obviously.
You're
Every
not invited,
university
Grant.
is tax exempt. You understand that. They are all tax exempt, almost, except for the for-profit ones. Almost every 4,000 universities in this country are tax exempt. That is the system. You can say it's bad, you don't like it, etc. But what you can't do is pick one university and say, you Harvard should not be tax exempt, but everybody else should be. In effect, the Trump administration is singling out Harvard disproportionately and for violations of Title VI. Never have you defunded a university for violations of Title VI. Never.
Never had we had Donald Trump like this.
It doesn't
So
matter. It's not legal. That's why the
no, no,
courts
it
are
doesn't
ruling
matter.
that
It
it's
doesn't
not
matter.
legal.
What matters is he's going to push the
It's
agenda,
not
and
legal.
he's
All
going to
right.
bring attention to it,
And
and
this
he's
is
going to
what I
get
said.
Harvard. Excuse
This
me.
is what
He's
I
going to get
said.
Harvard. He's going to get Harvard to reverse their policies and start acting right.
And this is what I said last
And
That's
night.
not
that's
going to
You
awesome,
are
happen.
by the
not,
way.
Grant,
And if
you are
you're
not a
loyal
patriot.
and you're
You are
an American
disloyal.
patriot, you should
You are
love that.
disloyal to this country because of what you just said. You said it doesn't matter if what he's doing is legal. Patriots believe in legalities. They believe in the law of the Constitution,
He
and they
hasn't done
believe in the
anything
rule of law
illegal,
and the
by the way.
separation of powers. You have just said you don't care about that. And I'm
I don't.
damned
I
if
don't.
I'm.
I actually want the president to make sure we move the ball down the
Uh-huh.
field and make
So
things better.
basically, you're
And
saying
that's what
you're
he's doing.
un-American. You MAGA,
No, no,
Grant
you're the one
Cardone,
that's
are
un-American.
un-American and unpatriotic. Good. I'm glad we've all acknowledged that.
Okay, yeah. Everybody believes that I'm unpatriotic.
Because you just said you don't
And by the
believe in
way,
the rule of
Nikki
law.
said
You
I
don't
don't
believe
understand what a
apparently in the
mortgage is.
Constitution.
So
That is
everybody believes I don't understand a mortgage
unpatriotic.
as well.
You are unpatriotic for not believing in the rule of law, the Constitution, or the separation of powers. That is not the American way. And you profess to be a patriot, but you can't be a patriot unless you stand for the things that America stands for. So I'm calling bull on you. You're not a patriot.
Right.
Thank you.
And shout out to Harvard for having the most billionaires in their alumni. Talk about American excellence. Shout out to Harvard.
As debate the news, man. Wow. So well, uh, Trump pardons. First of all, Grant. Before the pardons, Trump did some pardons. He did the Chrisleys, and he also did the sheriff, and he also did the I forget the other gentleman's name. Let me find out the gentleman's name. His mother went to that dinner.
Walzak. Walzak.
Walzak.
Yeah.
What do you think about those pardons, Grant? Is
I
it,
actually don't know anything about those pardons.
you know what? There you go, and I can respect that. There you go. Boom. You didn't defend it. You said I don't know about it, and I can respect that. That right there was a respectable answer. I give that all day long. So no, all right, no. Well, he pardoned a few people over the last couple of days. Very controversial people. That's all. And that's what I was asking about. So one hundred
Was it
percent.
was it was that the same case when Biden did his whole family and Fauci? Was that not controversial?
No, not like that. No,
Hold
no.
on. Why are you pardoning people that did nothing wrong, supposedly illegally, right?
Okay.
Why would you pardon your whole family? Why would you pardon Fauci? Why?
Why Trump pardon
Yeah,
Jared
one
Kushner's
second, one
father?
second, one
That's no.
second,
See, that's
one
what you
second.
do, Michelle. You
One mic,
answer a
guys. One
question
mic.
with a question.
One second,
One
guys.
mic.
Yeah,
Just
you asked.
answered a question with a
Yeah,
question.
why
Cindy?
don't you guys? Yeah, boom. She just asked a question. I'm gonna answer it. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I know it's getting a little late, and some moderation got it thrown off here a little bit. But let me just say this, Cindy. I agree with what you're saying, but Cindy, when you have people that actually have been that have pled guilty because they felt they were guilty, and people that have found guilty, really found guilty, and the evidence is really there, and it wasn't nothing controversial about the evidence. It wasn't like a reach or a stretch. It was like really there. You know, and
Well, Jonathan, did
then
you watch the other night when not Hannity, the other one, not Hannity, help me out here. He's on Twitter. Come on, he was on Fox for
There's
years.
a great poll going on right now in the
So
room.
was Mr. Poohba, I call him Poohba from the Flintstones. Did anybody watch that footage? How he was walking around very calmly and he was around, police were watching him the whole way through and he wasn't doing anything wrong. Does anybody watch that footage or do we just watch the
who's
clip?
that? What
I call him
police?
the guy with the Grand Poohba from the Flintstones, he
Which
had the
guy you
hat
talking about,
on.
Cindy?
The guy with the hat on and the half painted face, the whole nine yards.
Half
What?
pink, half. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? You talking about meme?
Was that his name, Mean?
A meme or something like there's
I don't know. I call him the Grand Poobah from the
the guy that
Flintstones.
was dressed
I
like a
don't nobody know what
lion.
she's talking
It was
about.
No,
a
he
real
wasn't dressed
person,
like a
Cindy.
lion. He had that stupid hat on. I call
Yeah,
it the
it was
Grand.
like a it.
what you talking about? Wizard of Oz? What the fuck y'all
Can
talking
y'all
about?
I
can
think
y'all
Hey,
go
Cindy
put up
was
the
anybody
the.
but
man's name or something?
Viking horns.
I
Hey,
think
Yeah,
we're
with the
talking
well,
about
Viking
well,
the
hat.
well,
Not the
lodge.
Wizard
The
of
Did
Lion
Oz.
We're
anybody
talking
Man.
about the
see?
lodge master, the head
Did
of the
anybody
lodge.
see the
Wait,
footage? Did anybody see the
talking about
footage
Shanley,
with?
hey,
Jacob
hey,
Shanley?
why don't you go look it up,
Are
Cindy?
you talking
Because
about Jacob Shanley, the one who walked around with
the
the
shaman.
horns, the shaman? That's Jacob
Oh, the
Yes,
Shanley.
Shaman.
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
So did anybody see
Who
the
who knew
footage?
who knew who knew what to call that, Tira?
What? I
Grant,
knew his name.
granted.
I've interacted with him on X.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
your
yeah. But
question?
you
The
were
real
looking for the
estate
word,
guy.
and I gave it to you. The shaman,
Oh
your
my
boy,
God! You're saying because you knew the word
But
shaman?
again,
your
Wow,
boy
that's
Grant
that wasn't the
Cardone
really
question.
gave it to
Oh,
you.
awesome,
give him
Did
a
Grant.
pound of
That's
anybody
back.
very
He
see?
deserves a
Grant.
Did
That's
cookie.
anybody see
fantastic. I'm
the
so proud of
footage?
you.
Did anybody
Oh
see
my
the
Here,
footage
God.
give
where
him a
he's
cookie.
walking around calmly and the police are right there with him and they're walking down the
Yeah, we
hall
saw it,
into
Cindy.
rooms?
Fucking make the point.
Thank
What
you.
was he
You're
doing
dragging it
wrong?
out like you got some
No, what was he
dementia or
doing? What was
something.
he doing wrong? Yeah,
trespassing.
Oh my
Okay. He
god.
wasn't doing shit wrong. We all know that. Hey, there's a
correct.
great poll in the room, guys. We've had
They're not supposed
19
to be
people
there. He was
respond to the poll.
trespassing.
Pick your favorite answer. What's a lot of money? We've had 19 responses. We should be able to get at least 40 or 50.
It won't
Yeah,
let
yeah,
me.
guys. Yeah, yeah. No, Cindy. All you had to do is
Well,
hit
if
those
you're a
two little
co-host, it
arrows.
won't let you answer for
Well,
some
I'm going to
reason.
answer it verbally. 500,000,
No,
2
no, Cindy,
million.
Cindy,
Over a million.
Cindy. Hit those two arrows up top, and then they'll let you answer.
Hit the two arrows up top.
What 2 hours on top? Oh, that
Oh,
go.
Next to the drop
Got it. I
down
got it. I
arrow.
got it. I got it.
oh,
Okay.
Okay.
that's cool.
I
But
didn't
don't
know.
hit end poll after. Do not hit end poll.
Nope, I didn't. Can I push the V down so it goes down?
And you can only vote once, right?
That's
Yes, that's
correct.
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 Yeah,
One inch.
that's cool. Oh, that's good that they fixed that.
So
Oh,
15% right now, 15 people, whatever it
yeah,
is over a million
we know what
dollars.
it says. You don't need to say that, Cindy. I don't know why you got to tell everybody what it says. We can
Grant, who
see
you
that.
talking to? Who you talking to like that?
I
I'm
have
talking
to.
to
But
Cindy.
now he's
Yeah,
so
back up
triggered
off
that he's
Cindy.
complaining about Cindy. Oh,
31 responses.
Grant.
Tira, hush up.
No, you. Oh, really? You need to
Let's
get some
get to
sleep, Grant. You
Let's
45.
show
can't
Only
some
really be
respect to
45
Tara. Let's
responses
not
is
disrespect
what we
her.
get now. Because Tira, you have a problem talking without yelling.
No, I don't, Grant. You have a problem listening, don't
I
you?
don't know why. I don't know. You and Mickey must spend a lot of time together.
No,
Ooh,
Grant,
Grant
we've
is
never
spicy tonight.
interacted together.
Oh,
But
Daphne, you
Grant,
have ducks?
No, Grant just spends
Seems
time
like
talking
y'all
to
are
a
both
brick
very angry.
wall.
Grant always says anybody who gets the better of him is
Okay,
angry.
so
It's
what
an
we have
amazing
right
thing.
now, let me just give you guys what we have right now with 33 responses.
We got a duck.
No, no,
78% of the room thinks a lot of money is over 500 grand. That's
yes.
78% of the room. 88% of the room thinks it would have to be 300 to $1 million to be a lot of money. So for all of you that were offended by my comments, fuck off.
Your comment's still wrong. Nobody care about
It's
Well,
that.
still. Why do
no,
you
they weren't
conflate it? Don't
because
put
like
everything together.
Over
if
a
y'all think
million, you got
about
37% at over a million. 500 to a
yes,
million is
Cindy.
40%.
We're still going, Cindy. They're still collecting data. No, think about it this way. Once you surpassed a certain amount of money, that like literally when I made a and I'm definitely not making what they're making, but when I thought 100K or 200K was a lot of money until I made it. Right. So I think that's what we're hearing. Right. Like think about it. Your
Yeah,
expenses go up and
people
things like
didn't
that.
hear
I don't know.
anything. Most people actually didn't hear anything because they got so triggered
Yeah.
about their own financial situation that they weren't able
Well,
to listen when
I mean, that happens a
all a
lot.
couple of people are, when all a couple of people were trying to do was explain, hey, don't be surprised when you hit that number if you realize it's not a lot.
Exactly.
You
But
never
that's not
even
And
how
then
he.
said
Mickey,
That's
that.
not
That
how
was
he
Mickey
my
was
came
that
trying
up
was
to
The
though.
take
more
it
the
the
more
right
that's
money
but
you make,
that's
the
what
more
I
money
heard.
you spend. The more
Median
money you
income
spend.
for a single person in this
That,
country, by the way, is $42,000. So if you
Yeah.
make
Exactly.
What's the point?
300,000, my
yeah,
point
what is
is
it?
that
What's the point? What's
less
that got to
than.
do with this?
Do you not know what median means, Grant?
What's that got to do with this?
Oh my fucking god!
See,
Never mind
he
about
nah,
it.
Look,
cause
it
he
has
don't
nothing.
know
Nobody
everything.
understand the
He just
meaning.
I
don't
think I
listen.
think
That's
what you're
crazy.
suggesting is that I think what you're suggesting is that groups of people can only be expected to ever reach the median.
Mm.
Is that what
She
you're
didn't even
saying?
say that.
He
No,
didn't even
I'm
say
talking
that. Why
about
are you
aggregated
assuming?
data. Do you know what aggregated data means, Grant?
And what does a lot of money mean to you? Because you're the one that started this conversation.
Sir, when it comes to money,
Because we were not talking about
you
aggregated
can't
data. We weren't talking
conjecture
about
your
median
income,
incomes. We were
Grant.
talking about what a lot of money is.
This means that most Americans don't have the privilege of just wishing that they made quote unquote a lot of money. So what I'm
No,
referring
but
to
that point was
is
never made.
Well,
actual, may I
maybe you
finish,
should
please? I
manifest
don't
it.
need any help.
That
What
was
I'm
never
speaking
made.
to
Manifest it, and then
is
you
what
can like
Yeah,
people
Mickey.
actually
But
make in this
we have to have
country.
some ordinance here, guys.
Right. What I'm
Nah.
literally referring to is the data that shows what people actually make, not what they think is a lot of money, not what they believe is a lot of money, but the median income, meaning 50% of Americans, working adults who are
But
single, make
the
less
poll
than
was
that
not
amount.
what is the
And
median income. The
50%,
poll was
that
Why
is
can't
what,
you just let her
of
finish
course, the
though?
poll is not
the
median
poll was what
income
is a
because
lot of
people
money.
don't
The
know
poll had
it.
nothing to do with median
You
income.
talking about a poll full of chatter people? That's not even big enough to make a real statement to
You
run
not
off
over
of.
here, so how you know?
It
It's
does not. It's not.
undeniable
I
that
know it's not
people
enough for
think
y'all to
there's a
make a
lot
Get
of
statement
over
money if
here,
they don't have
Q.
it.
Stay over there in your
to
poorhouse.
run
Of
off
course,
of.
to people that don't have it, it's going to seem as a lot. But what I'm telling you is that 42,000 is the median, smack dab in the middle of
Yeah, what's the
single
point?
working age Americans in this country.
No, Grant.
So
What's the
there you
Originally,
point?
go.
what was said
you can
was
go
someone
labor.
described their friend's salary and said that they made a lot of money. That was relative to their experience, right? It wasn't about median income.
Thank
That
you.
was what was said. So Grant countered that with that's not a lot of money because from his purview it isn't. Because he surpassed
Oh
that.
man.
Now, like I gave the example, 50K was a lot of money for me at one point, right? Until I surpassed it. So we're looking, or I'll speak for me. I'm
Here we
looking
go.
up because I haven't obtained it, and for those that have obtained it, they're looking down. Think about it. What there's someone making 50K now. Let's say someone else is making 150. They're looking at the 50K person like, hey man, that's not enough. You got to get out there and keep grinding.
So
So
if
so
someone,
that wasn't the original point.
so
I
first
think
of all, there
everybody should go
wasn't.
to Boston and become a laborer because I paid $35 an
Oh
hour,
god, not the
which
plumbing
is seventy-two
conversation.
thousand eight hundred dollars a year.
So there wasn't an original point, by the way. It's just that people were triggered whenever I speak, which is why somebody just recounted what I said, even though it was 45 minutes ago. Number two, if we're speaking of what an individual person makes relative to what the not even the average American, because the average American salary is aggregated with that of Cindy's and Grant's, and we know.
I'm not doing it.
Who? Oh, come on,
Anyone
Yeah,
else?
yeah,
y'all.
I did
no,
it.
no,
I
guys.
did it.
No,
No,
we're not. No,
because
we're
you
not
don't
muting,
want to do
guys.
it. I'll do it. Don't
No, we're
come
not
at
doing
me.
it. We're not
No,
doing
I
mute right
am.
now.
Oh,
Nah,
you
but
know
why would
what?
y'all
Y'all
drop her
can
while
move
she's
me.
talking?
This is
Hold
why
on.
y'all voted for Trump and
Yeah.
y'all bitching and moaning now because y'all don't
Okay.
understand the
Okay. Yeah.
economy.
Yeah.
But go ahead and
Mickey,
cry.
Stay on point. Stay on point. Go ahead.
Oh, well, you see what happens when I try. I already
Stay
get
on
triggered by his
point.
All right, guys. Look, guys. Look, we're not doing this. This is debate the news. This is not
child. I'll
handle.
finish, Jonathan. But the point that I was making, if someone is dismissive of $300,000 to $500,000 a year in salary is quote unquote not a lot of money, when the reality is that 50% of Americans don't even make $42,000 a year, right? If that median income was even $150,000, then we might say, oh, $300,000 is not a lot. But literally, that could be 10 times the median person's salary in this country. So we're not saying that that wouldn't be a lot of money when people aren't
76%
even
of the
making
people that
Mickey,
voted on the poll said it wasn't
$42,000.
a lot of money.
Mickey, but
Crazy.
that wasn't the point, and he
There
wasn't.
wasn't a point. Someone took
No,
what I was saying
listen,
and led with it, which is
ma-
why you add more
ma'am.
data
No,
to support
listen,
it. If
listen,
y'all don't think
listen.
$500,000
May
is a
I
lot of money and
speak?
you don't make
Well,
it,
you can
it
let her
doesn't
finish
really
May
matter.
first.
I speak? Because we just listened to you rant about stuff, right? And change the
Say the same
goalposts.
things over and over
So
again.
when you're going to say $500,000, the point we're trying to help you to understand is that at $500,000, your tax bracket is higher.
Thank you.
Okay, that's point number one. And you're speaking of a graduate, a higher educated graduate. So whether they got student loans or grants or whatever the hell they got, not you, Grant Cardone, right? But if they had to pay for anything having to do with their education, they still have to pay that back.
You
That
don't
is
have to
a
pay
fact.
grants back. Grants are not repayable.
No,
Exactly.
grants
Okay.
are not
But not
repayable. No,
everybody's
I'm
got
saying if they
grants
Neither
don't
are
cover all of it.
endowments.
I said if they don't receive those things, then you still have to pay back whatever cost is associated with
The
their
only thing you have
education.
to pay back is if you
Ma-
have student loans. You don't have to pay
Listen,
back
I have
scholarships or
listened to
grants.
y'all speak all night. Please,
Well, just make facts then.
That
please,
doesn't mean that facts aren't facts.
She is making
right?
facts. If you let her make them, she's making them.
Yeah, no,
Right.
she's
And
not.
so, and when you look at cost of living and you take all of that out and you then look at what you have in your bank account, it's not a lot. And I understand it may be a lot looking up, but when you're looking down, it's not a lot. And all I'm saying is that just look at
Exactly.
two different people's perspectives and just hear what the point is.
So
They
I'm
can't.
curious. Is
There's
everybody
space
in
for
here making
growth.
500K or more? I know
Everybody
Grant is
stop.
way past that, but is everyone in here speaking about this making 500K or more?
Well, let's pretend we all
Okay.
do.
You didn't
Okay.
understand what was said either. Because
No,
what
I
she
can
and
follow the
I said
conversation,
was if
and
you
y'all are
surpassed it, then
and
you're
y'all are
looking
cutting them off
back.
so she couldn't
We're
even
looking
finish the
back at
point.
that amount. If you haven't reached it, you're looking up at that amount. Those are two different perspectives. That's what we both said. So why does it matter if we've made it or not? It's about two
Because
different
Grant made a
perspectives,
statement
Q.
and said it's not no
So
money.
what
For
about
him,
that?
it's not no money, but for everyone else speaking, I'm asking: is it money to y'all, or is it just pennies, chump change? Because the way it sounds in here, like y'all
No,
treating it like
it's
it's
not
chump
pennies.
change,
It's not chump
and y'all
change.
not.
But
And
after you're done paying your taxes because you go into a higher tax bracket, and an educated person that has student loans, after you pay your taxes, by the way, then you have to pay your student loans. What do you end up with for living expenses? Now, if you didn't go to college and you know, owe 300,000 in college debt, you're looking pretty good. That's what
okay.
she's saying.
That's way above the average student
Okay, so
debt,
It's exactly,
and
and
120,000.
I'm
people
saying
don't
if you're
have
making
and
Well, guess
people
500K,
what
without
else, Tara?
student debt.
Because no,
you got
Tara,
money to put in for
People without
investments,
go to
student debt,
medical
so you're
school.
start a business,
you,
whatever to
even if you
make
Let's
go
your
to
hear
tax
Quinn
medical
now.
bill
school.
lower.
Guys, let's hear Quinn now. He's been trying to
And
get
then,
on all the
then a
keys. But
fellowship, you're
Yeah.
making
it's Cindy,
65,000 a
Cindy,
year.
Cindy. 1 second. I want to hear Quinn now. He has been trying. He's on the other platform. Go ahead, Quinn.
Yeah, I just want to. I'm just saying, 500. Y'all keep saying 500K ain't this and that or tax bills. If you're making 500, you're able to handle your bills and also do investments and invest in things. And there's
Do
what
you
and
make
hold on. And
500?
there's ways to make your tax bill lower. You know, you can lower your tax bill. It's not like you just stuck at that number. You have enough money to invest in certain things to lower
But
your
not if
tax
you're a
bill.
W 2. How
Oh
are
my
you going
God.
to lower the
Yeah,
taxes
yeah,
as a
yeah,
W
No,
2?
he's
yeah.
right, Cindy. You can make investments. You could buy things that have deductions as
I
you wish.
agree
Thank
with
you.
that. I'm
And you
not
can
saying
get in
you
some
can't.
investment for real estate things like that. I'm just saying y'all acting like somebody making 500K. They're just stuck at
But
500K with that
who's
tax
acting like
bill.
that? Who's acting like that?
The way the conversation is going. I'm not speaking for everybody because you made it past there. You're not even really the person I'm talking to. I'm asking everybody else. Well, you and Cindy and
Yeah,
the high net
the
worth. I'm talking
poll, the
everybody
But
poll.
I
else.
explained that to
If
you,
you're
Q.
at
I said when
500K
I when people
and
that are
it's
making
and
when I
it's
was in the
not no
military,
money.
I got paid $27,000. That was enough.
But I'm
But I
saying
was
if you're
trying
making
to obtain
500K
100.
and it's
When
not
I
no,
got to
but if you're
100,
making
I
500K
looked
and it's
back
not
at
no
that
money to you,
27,000 and was like, damn, how did I live off of that?
but hold on,
Like
see,
so
cash. I mean,
like we said.
goddamn, who is this?
Okay,
Chat.
go ahead, Q, because
Yeah, I'm just
you
saying at
asked a question and
500K,
then I don't know. I'm sorry, I
is
thought
it
you
no
wanted an
money
answer.
to you or is it for anybody, you know, any race, is that good money enough to take care of yourself, have a family, live a decent life? Because everybody's not shooting the reach to be multi millionaires or shooting for the billionaire game. Most people just want to make enough to be out here and own a home and do vacation, 2 vacations a year, whatever. But with
And
500K, you can really
and
get things
Hewitt, depending where you
rolling.
live, yes, that could be a lot of money.
Right. Well, I'm in the South.
And if
I'm
you
just
don't
speaking, but
have any debt of
That's not a
college that you
lot
have
of
to pay
money
back,
anywhere. That's
no,
bullshit.
listen.
It's not a
Well,
lot of money anywhere.
to live in the city of
you
Atlanta,
just said
all you
it's
need
enough
is
money that
to
he can
make a
invest
hundred
money
k.
into real
You're making
estate.
5 times that. So if you a city of Atlanta, you need 100K to live good, and then you're making 5 times that. So if I got that and I'm making this yearly, and I'm investing and I'm buying, doing investments, lowering my tax bill, things like that, we good. Like who's gonna act like, oh, this ain't no money? That's real money. That's good money. I don't get how people are saying that ain't no money. I get you,
You
Grant,
said in
because you're way
Atlanta?
past it. But anybody else, the regular people in here, that's great money. And you telling me that if your job is paying you 500K right now, and are you not going to take things? Are you not going to take
Y'all
that
should
income
read
because it's
Rich
too
Dad
low
Poor
for
Dad.
you, or are you going to hold out where you at and hoping that you got a business that breaks out and does way better, or do what Grant doing with real estate or
Did
something?
you say in Atlanta?
Yeah, I stay in Atlanta.
Bruh, if you stay in Atlanta, you realize how prices have skyrocketed with the cost of
I
living
know that's
here.
why it's at a
Half a
hundred grand
million
right
dollars
now.
a
I
year
literally
is
just
good
read that
money.
it's at a hundred,
Half a
probably a
Anything
hundred
million,
other,
half
y'all
a million
y'all are
five
dollars
talking
dollars
a
ain't
to
bunch
live
of
in the
shit.
bullshit.
That
city.
ain't
Making a half a
shit in
million
Atlanta
dollars a
right
year
now.
is
Yeah,
damn good
Tell on
money.
Tiff.
Piff, what is so if it's not 500, then what would it be?
You gotta be making a lot more than 500 in Atlanta to be able to live
That's
like a
fucking
like
bullshit.
that is
live
bullshit,
good.
So
bro. It's
what
People
if
are
what if
Live
living
what
off
good.
a
to
lot
live
is
less
it
than
in
so
that.
what
Atlanta
if
That's
you don't want
straight
to
crazy.
up
be a
Hold
king?
on.
bullshit.
Because the thing
Man,
about it,
look.
what if you don't want to be a king?
You're a
Then
I
liar.
mean, even if you wanna,
what you think?
I
Everybody
mean,
wants to be a
I
king,
agree.
but people
I
don't
mean,
want to
that's
do
the
the
thing.
fucking
Like,
work.
Grant, I don't know about that, Grant.
who the hell
Everybody
doesn't
wants
want
to
to
be
be
a
a
king.
king?
You
Who
been
the hell
here
doesn't want to be a
listening?
king though? Like, for real. Like, who the hell doesn't want to be a big dog? Like,
Mickey got to
like,
believe.
who the hell doesn't?
Wait, but Piff,
Got to
obviously there's
believe.
people that are
Mickey's
willing
gonna
to
get
live
down,
way
down to the
below their
median.
means.
She's gonna be like,
No,
"Oh,
no, 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 no. Atlanta isn't one of those types of cities. Atlanta is one of those
You
types of
can't live
cities
below your
where
means in Atlanta at
no,
all.
nobody in Atlanta lives below their means.
I find that
Nobody
very
does.
hard to believe.
That's
That
bullshit.
doesn't
Well,
happen.
it's not
Don't
a good
make blanket
point,
statements,
That
though.
because that's
doesn't
That mean
happen.
bullshit.
they can't.
You don't even know
That doesn't
anybody in Atlanta to
happen.
say that. You don't know
Well,
enough people in
then
Atlanta
y'all
to
need
say
to.
that.
Maybe that's why y'all ain't getting it.
No,
Nah, I
I don't know
mean,
who y'all is,
I
but
Maybe
get what
that's
you're
you
saying.
why.
No,
making
I
blanket
get what you're
statements that I'm
saying.
Because
not
living
agreeing
beyond
to.
your
So
means
don't
is
mean
not
y'all ain't
fiscally
getting nothing.
No, no,
responsible.
no, 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 no. I
He's
understand
speaking
what
for
you mean,
himself.
but I'm
I
just
know
telling
you
you
know
the
that. I'm just saying.
reality. I understand, but I'm just telling you the reality of it. It's smoke and mirrors here. So you got people that might be making that type of money. They might be making 500 a year, but guess what? Like they spending way more than that on their cost of living.
That's the top
Bullshit.
1% of the
Stop making
United
blanket
States.
statements.
That
That's
is
the
not
top
no top
1%.
1%. That is the
Well,
most.
you checking for yourself.
That
That's
is not the
bullshit.
top one
You haven't
percent,
seen
bro.
a
That
half a
is
million dollars
everybody
at
that
no
makes that
job.
type of
You're a
money here, bro.
motherfucking liar.
That is
You're a
everybody that
liar.
makes that
You're
type of
not
money
making
here.
no half
We
million
see it all the
dollars a year.
time.
You're a
We
liar.
see it
And you're
all
not
the
making
time,
that.
bro.
You're a
You
motherfucking
see
liar.
people that making $500.
Jamal, chill out. All that
Yeah, why
cussing.
you cussing? Goodness
Like, what is we
Lord.
We
just talking about money, and we ain't talking about none of y'all money. Like, this is crazy.
I ain't talking
we
about
like
nobody
what I'm
money
saying
either.
is that you'll see somebody that's making anywhere from 500 to even a million. They got freaking Rolls Royce Cullinans and stuff
Stop the
like that,
cap, bro.
and
Stop
stuff
it,
like
dog.
that. They got $500,000 homes and shit like that. Like you're
That,
seeing that.
bro, you're making a
You're
blanket
literally
statement saying
seeing
that's
that.
what you. So are you
Like
saying
So
that's
I
what you
know
just
see
put
that.
from
something
every
in the
single
chat.
person?
Only 2% of Americans, working single Americans, make $300,000 a year. So
Thank you.
hey,
You're
we're
talking about
all one percenters in
Americans.
this room. Shout
You're
out to
talking about
us.
America. You're
Thank you,
talking about
Mickey.
Americans.
Making my
Number
point.
one, we ain't gonna sit here and act like it's not a lot of
Well, who's
Americans
you
getting
supposed to
money under
talk
the table.
about?
Nah,
Japanese?
you ain't gonna sit here and talk
What we
about that. You ain't gonna sit here and
talking about?
say You're not gonna
Man, don't
sit.
y'all be
You only.
disagreeing with Piff.
No,
I
no,
know
no.
how to
You're not
end
gonna
up.
sit here and say that. You're
Carlos,
not gonna
shut
sit
up.
here and say that people ain't getting money under the table, man. Like
No,
you ain't gonna sit here and
don't
tell
move the
me
go,
that
don't move
No,
the
everybody
Pip,
ain't
goalpost,
bringing
bro.
don't. We're
nothing
not
up.
going. We're not.
Don't
We're
move
not
the
Like,
even going
nah,
down
goalpost,
you
that
ain't
bro.
gonna.
road.
Ain't nobody said nothing about
No,
no
It's the
Pip.
under the
One
truth,
table
though.
second.
money.
One
It's the
second. One
truth,
second.
though.
And I got it, but
It's not
that is
true.
not the conversation that we're having. We're not talking about getting paid under the table as a
Right.
source of income. That's not what we've been discussing.
But
At
it's
So
all.
the
only
reason
America. If
why,
you want to
but
use
you
statistics,
have to
then
listen though,
if
because
you
like
want to use
I haven't
statistics,
muted my
then
mic yet, sir.
I mean, you cut
I
me
ain't even
off.
muted my mic.
You cut me off, though.
So I'm not okay. Yep. One
You
second.
cut
Wait a
me
minute, but
off,
he
though.
He
actually
said one
cut
second.
Britain off.
Watch
Britain
this.
was the one talking, and you jumped in to talking about you from Atlanta. So
Yeah,
don't
cut
let's talk about
somebody off
nobody
now.
cutting anybody off. You the master person that cuts people off.
Exactly.
And who
Like
was that
that's
talking?
crazy.
I'm just
Freddie,
curious.
did you finish, honey?
Yeah, no, I'll make my point. I just want to rebut to him real quick. Everybody that's making 500K to a million is not buying Rolls Royces or living like a rapper. He's really pointing out like what rappers do. That is not how everybody in Atlanta is living. Some people still rock the regular white t-shirts and plain shoes and a regular car. Everybody ain't doing that rapper stuff that he's acting like we all do. You see on TV from Atlanta all the time. That's bullshit, and I hate that he's in here over here making a blanket statement like that, like that's what everybody's doing when it's not. So go.
Did you
I'm
just
done.
say it was only rappers?
Oh my God, Naka, you're not listening. Go
It's
ahead.
not only rappers,
All right,
Pip,
guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
obviously.
real quick, guys. Wow, wow. This is really going down a different path. So
Money, man, is a triggering subject.
it is, Grant. It
It is
is.
more triggering than politics, by the way.
Jonathan, I also put something in the chat. Only 0.79% of jobs in this country are at a $500,000 salary. So once
So,
again, you have the 1% of the 1% in this room right now, and a lot of people are agreeing with three to
what's
five
your
hundred
point?
thousand dollars.
Why don't
Oh
you
well,
encourage people to strive for the 1%
how am I not
rather than
encouraging them
make,
not? Well, you
because
have to
you
identify it
always
first
go
before
back,
you can strive for it,
and
Grant.
talk
That's how
about
I
the
feel.
Exactly.
But
median.
hey, five hundred
Because you
thousand dollars
always
a
go
year isn't a
back,
lot of money to you, according to you, taxes and such. So there
you
you
always
go.
go back to the middle of the bucket of crabs. You think
Man,
you're a
why you can't
crab
let
in a
her
bucket.
talk?
Hey Grant,
Bro,
I'm with
stop
Del
it.
Bigtree. We just
Just
announced
let
a
her
big
talk.
mega event in Austin. We've been trying to get you and Dell together, Grant, but Jonathan
Yo.
didn't do it. All right, I went to your place, Grant. See you later.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Oh, I got him. My bad. My bad. I didn't even realize that was Clubhouse. I thought I was thinking that was
You
Channel.
know
My
she
bad, y'all.
cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
All right, guys, real quick, Real quick. CH, I'm gonna do a hard reset after that, man. CH, I gotta do a hard reset.
No, not
What does
nah.
that
Leave
mean?
us alone.
CH, one second, CH. What does that mean? That means that you guys are gonna find yourselves in the hallway for about 5 seconds. I promise you guys, it's gonna be no less than five. I know no more than 5 seconds. And you guys are gonna be back into the room. So we're gonna do a hard reset. If you're listening to us at home, guess what? You have another bonus episode coming. So download the bonus episode later on today, Wednesday, the 28th of May, and hopefully you enjoy it as thoroughly as you enjoy. I know you enjoy this one. So with that being said, CH, we're gonna go ahead and hard reset you guys now.